Hello, friends. I need to check my audio levels. Hello, hello. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to Scrape the Web with Node.js. We are going to write JavaScript code to scrape the web. It's going to be a fun time. Let's say hello to everyone. Before we get into it, I'll mention some of the things that we will use. We are going to create an agenda. We'll get into it. But first of all, we're going to use this library called Cheerio. Now, I've done quite a few videos on scraping the web with Cheerio. This is like having jQuery on the server side. It's pretty cool. But I do also want to look into scraping with this thing called JSDOM, which is a bit more updated and actually allows you to do things like document.querySelector inside of Node.js. So that'll be fun. We'll talk about when and why you might use something like Puppeteer instead of something like JSDOM or Cheerio. And then we'll also potentially talk about undocumented APIs, because typically, if you find yourself needing to use something like Puppeteer, you might actually be able to just find an undocumented API instead of having to use something like this. Yeah, this should be about 2 hours long. About 2 hours. Alrighty, everyone. I appreciate you all for being here. I will admit, I'm a little bit tired, but also I'm motivated. I'm motivated to stream. I need to eat my breakfast. And also, for all of the regulars here, I need you to I need you to help me today. Today, you just have to remind me that everything's gonna be okay. So we get a lot of trolls in the chat. Not a lot. I mean, every now and then a troll will pop up in the chat. Negative people will pop up in the chat, and I need you to be on the lookout and just interject and be like, "Hey, CJ, remember that everything's okay. We're here for you. Thank you, Mergecast. Thank you, Unfair. Thank you, Alka." That's all I need. All I need is just at least one person to say that, and I'll be reminded to just chill out. All right. Now, if you're new here, let's play the drop game real quick. So if you can type !drop me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Much appreciated. If you do !drop me in the chat, oh, thank you, Revive Newt. It is going to be a great day. It will drop your avatar. And if it lands here, look at that, we got 2 drops. We got Damon and Alka. Nice, Alka. You're using the new BTTV emote that I enabled. Thank you, funny dude. Cheer up, Buttercup. Oh, that's great. It's going to be a good day. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, and so I want to talk about this too. So Lechi is mentioning we're scraping? What do you think about the court cases that legalize scraping in the US? It's actually very interesting. I think the main thing it says is that web scraping does not fall under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Like, web scraping is not unauthorized access of a remote computer system. It's essentially accessing websites in a similar way to that regular people would access the website. I'll mention there is a 90-second cooldown on the drop game, so you can only drop once every 90 seconds. So yeah, so we need to talk about that. We are going to create an agenda. Demon? Oh. D-man. Demon? I don't know. We'll talk about what we're scraping too. Thank you, Loco Dev. Good vibes, everybody. I think we have a good vibes emote. Good vibes. Yeah, we could do it like the old days. It could be fun. So I've thought about this though. Like, also, my audience is much larger than it used to be. So I definitely need to be careful and specific and talk about the legal issues and why and how you should be responsible with this kind of coding. So yeah, we'll do that. And what's up, She.Moe? All right, let's acknowledge some follows that we got, because I appreciate you all. Thank you to Floco, and 0xB1, and Destitute, and Hasinka, and Carpy, and Gordom, and Jolimo, and D-Hugh, and SB Dragon, and Alexandrina, and Death Scythe. Thank you for the follows, and Regenton. Thank you for the follows. Hello, Finn. Yes, Doc says, be sure to check the legality of web scraping if you're in a different jurisdiction from me. I'm in the United States of America. We have different laws than other countries. So that'll probably be the first thing that we address, because I have a feeling a lot of people in the chat are going to say things like that. Revive Newt! Thank you very much for the gifted sub. Oh, no! Lechi! You've upgraded! No, that was Leichy. Thank you so much, Leichy. Leichy has upgraded from a gifted sub that they originally got from Revive Newt. Thank you, Leichy. Leichy's been hanging out. We appreciate Leichy here. Upgrade! We appreciate Leichy here on the Coding Garden. Thank you, Leichy. She-Boss. Okay, that is a gifted sub. Who is that to? To Skycolor. Thank you very much, the She-Boss, for the gifted sub. Yeah, so what are we gonna scrape? I think we might actually start off with scraping something like Wikipedia, because it's something that a lot of people use, and it's typically data that's available for. Oh, there's Revive Newt. Hey, Revive Newt. Thank you so much, Revive Newt, with the 11 gifted subs. So it was my mistake to thank you for Leichy's upgrade. I hope I didn't guilt you into gifting me. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for gifting all the subs. Thank you to Unfair for the bits. Much appreciated. Good vibes, everyone. Good vibes. Yeah, and so it's tricky. Like I'm on a public. Oh, funny dude. It's a battle for the leaderboard. Thank you, funny dude, for the 10 gifted subs. 10 gifted. And Fight. I guess I missed that, but thank you for the 3-month Twitch Prime resub. And Turtle Monkey, thank you for the 100 bits. There's a lot of support. I appreciate you all. Also, check out Twitch Prime. It's a thing. Thank you, Fishy Coding, for the bits. Amazon could be interesting, but we always have to be careful with things like that. Like, so what I was mentioning, I'm on a public platform, so I need to be sure. Thank you, Julian, for the bits. I need to be sure to make sure that I talk about these things in a responsible way. And I mean, people have built bots that like scrape Amazon to get prices for things. Hey, Melanai, 2-month resub with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. So we'll see. I think I'm gonna start with just scraping something like a table on Wikipedia, because it's freely available data, and there's not much harm you can do with that. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, and thank you for all the gifted subs. The race has begun. Yeah. So we're gonna start at the complete basics. If you've never even heard of the term web scraping, we're gonna talk about what it means. Yeah, we're gonna start from the beginning for sure. Be happy for this moment. This moment is your life. Your life. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Revive Newt. Much appreciated. Ooh, hey, Emilace. Thank you for the 100 bits. Scrape NASA, or no. Hey, NASA, like the National Aeronautic and Space Administration. I don't know. We got some follows. Let me acknowledge these. FAQ Indio, thank you for the follow. Wraith, thanks for being here. And Maracona, thank you for the follow as well. We have some redemptions. I need to find a better way I need to find a better way to handle redemptions, because I always end up waiting like an hour before I take a drink of water. But Hulkenberg, thank you for the hydrate. Slake, you get the yerba. Are you ready? It's hard for me to open cans. Cheers. Cheers, Slake. Smash my door, Revive Newt. Thank you. Thank you, Revive Newt, for the gifted subs. It's happening, everyone. You were here. I can't. Oh, buddy. Okay, so let's all, first of all, we gotta appreciate all the things that are happening right now. Yeah, let's drop some yerba. This is basically our hype emote here on the Coding Garden. So my keyboard is messing up so much today. It's gonna slow me down, I think, which is good. I won't be so fast. But if you're a sub, please drop the yerba emote. Cheers, everyone. Thank you, Revive Newt, for the gifted subs. After this, we need to send all the hearts that we can. Yeah. It's a battle, everyone. It's a battle, and I've been caught right in the middle of it. Revive Newt. No, sorry. Funny dude. Thank you for those 10 gifted subs. Whew. Deep breaths, everyone. Deep breaths. Send your hearts. Just lots of hearts. Very cool. 100 bits. Thank you very much. All right. Smash my. Thank you for the hydrate. Worship the sofa. Thank you for the posture check. There are yerbas dropping. Oh, good job, Arul. and Victor, and Leichy. Good drops, good drops. Bratloff, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. And Leo Guy, thank you as well. I appreciate you. Yeah, just real quick, Officer Jake. There is, if you search npm, I believe there's literally a package called unzip. I've done it before, but yeah, you would use an HTTP request library. So Axios is a nice one, so that can make your HTTP request. Then you would probably, you could get that response back as a stream, and then pipe that stream into an unzip library. Or you could write that response down to disk, and then use something like unzip to unzip it. It's possible. I haven't done it a lot though, but I would just search npm for zip. Hey, Adamate, thank you for the 100 bits. Deep breaths, everyone. Everything's gonna be okay. Let's acknowledge these follows, and then we'll say hello to everybody. Gabrielle, thank you for the follow. Alpha, thank you for the follow. Turners, much appreciated. Alexi, thank you. Go Cap, thanks for being here. And Anata Codes. Great work, everyone. Thank you all for the supports. Funny dude. Revive Newt. Everyone for the bits. I really appreciate you. Let's just thank everybody. The duel between Revive Newt and Funny Dude. Revive Newt has declared Funny Dude the victor. Thank you all. Yeah, I posted my frequently asked questions on dev.to. I don't know, I don't really write blogs, but I thought okay, first of all, if you are somewhat new here, the frequently asked questions, you can click here, might actually be a fun read for you. Because I spent quite a bit of time actually, so we collected a ton of questions. I tried to write down all the questions that we get all of the time, and so you can read that. It's a good primer on the Coding Garden itself. But I posted it on dev.to as well, because that's like the social thing to do. Like it was like a bit of a blog post. I don't know, but look at all these supports. I appreciate you all. I am just but a guy, and I appreciate your support. Rashmon with the Twitch Prime sub when I was not streaming. Thank you very much, Rashmon. Hello Holsty with the 2-month Twitch Prime resub. Commodore Dragon with the 2-month Twitch Prime resub. The She-Boss with the gifted sub. Revive Newt with the 11 gifted subs. Wait, is Leichy not on here? Where's Leichy? Did that happen later? Leichy, where are you? I thought I had this. Okay. Revive Newt. 11 gifted subs. Unfair. 100 bits. Funny Dude with the 10 gifted. Fight with the 3-month Twitch Prime resub. Turtle Monkey with 100 bits. Fishy Coding with 100 bits. Julian with the 50 bits. Melanai with the Twitch Prime 2-month resub, who says, I resubscribe with Twitch Prime too. Emalace with 100 bits. Revive Newt with the 10 gifted. Funny Dude with the 10 gifted. Bear Cool with 100 bits. Adamante with 100 bits. And Leading Lady with the 2-month Twitch Prime resub. Thank you, everyone. Oh, it isn't... Yeah, it's super weird. Well, let's see. Does this tool capture it? Resubs. I guess not. Well, I appreciate you, Leichy. The Twitch API does not appreciate you, but I do. All right, let's say hello to everybody. So if you say hi, hello, hey, morning, afternoon, howdy, or scrape. Okay. If you say any of these things, I will acknowledge you. We're going to go back 26 minutes ago to the very first hello, who was Jellywoot. Congrats to Jellywoot. Thank you very much, Jellywoot. And are you somehow related to Greasy Woot? Are you two one and the same? Or like, I don't know, but hello, Jellywoot. Thank you for being the first person to say hello. What's up, Max Programming, and Farhaya, and Slake, and Antonera, and Jays, and Catherine, and S Double, and Fishy Coding. Thank you all for being here. We've got this Code Rocks, and Paranoid Android, and Alka, with the Boga Hey. And Life is Zero, what's up, Lakshman, and Win320 Day, and Karate Wump, and The Real Greg, and Terrazoid, and Victor, and Mo Saeed, and Gazija, who says, hello, friends, welcome to the Coding Garden with CJ. I'm your butler today. What's up, Gazija? Lightyear, how's it going? What's up, Talos Code, and Javis, and Empire des Machines, and Capri, and Koozie, and Mishka, and Unfair, and Flauco, And Into One, who said Dzień dobry. Just came to say hi. I'll definitely watch this stream later. Well, thank you for dropping by Into One. Appreciate you. Hello, Casper, and Quilenza, and Zalanda, and Ben, and James, and Mutant Spew. Welcome, welcome. Ilana, how's it going? Hello, Johira, and Dimitri, and Zubin, and Tanks, and Arul, who thanks Revive Newt for the gifted sub. Can we all thank Revive Newt and Funny Dude for the gifted sub? Just say, at Revive Newt. We appreciate you. Thanks for sharing the love. Same thing to Funny Dude with many, many gifted subs. I appreciate both of you. Tank Shakur, what's up? Hello, Bear Cool, good morning. Hello, Shines Love, and Ahmed, and Richard, and Last Riddler, and Spectari, and V-Shop, and Eternal Dev Coder, and Bruno. How's it going? What's up, Cameron Codes? Coach O! What's up, Coach O? You probably got shouted out by my bot, but shout out to Coach O. Check them out. They're a member of our Live Coders team. Thank you for being here, Coach O. What's up, what's up? Hello, Jords, and Vorex, who says, a subject that I like. I'll definitely watch the replay. Nice, nice. Wait, did I spell that wrong? We appreciate you. Okay, okay. I told you my keyboard is acting up, so I keep typing extra letters. I don't know. What's up, Halo, and Akash, and Dev? What's up, This Modern Dev, and Crash Course, and Acelera, and Rohil, and Commodore Dragon, and Wijdan, and Hulkenberg, and K4Ms, and Alex, and it's Domi, and Nino, and Turtle Monkey, and Ace Mods, and Julian, and Loop, and Woola, and Ramoon, and Walpalia, who says, have a great day. Puppeteer on Versal Cloud functions is really neat. Yeah, I think we'll try to deploy this thing just to show you how we can put it on the web too. What's up, Lord Roast Beef, and Avi, and Dev Henrique, and ADR Pala, and Crowfox, and Marlon, and Shreyan, and Akam, and Leichy. What's up, Leichy? What's up, Dan? And Bjorn the Dev, and Lustidium Vanidium, and Mark. Two different Marks. We got Mark 2067, and we've got Mark Van C. Welcome, Marks. There's probably other Marks out there, too. What's up, D-Man? But with an A at the end. Damon? Damon or D-Man? I like to say D-Man. D-Man. Jan, what's up, Jan? Hello, Lynx, and Adamate, and the She-Boss. Thank you for that gifted sub, the She-Boss, who says, since streaming this morning, will you still do a Kata stream tonight? I plan to. I do plan to. Yeah, there will be a Code Kata stream tonight. It's just more people can tune in the mornings. So I like to do morning streams, but yeah, I will do Code Katas tonight as well. I'm gonna finish the 2Q Code Kata that we started last week. And the three bosses, how's it going? From South Africa, very cool. What's up, Sven? And Rainy by Sun, and MB Dealer, and Gory Dev from Chile, welcome. And DS Legends, what's up, Cheyenne? And LJP. Programming Costa asks, at this time, do you think Spring Boot is good to create web applications? I think if you know Java and you want to build backend applications with Java, go for it. I don't really know Java, though. FAQ Indio, hello. What's up, Master Adam? Before you start, can you go over the basics? Yeah, we will definitely do that. Kellerez, how's it going? What's up, Arm Pie? Funny dude. Who says, isn't it impossible to scrape a Vue, React, or Angular app? It's actually not. So, the hidden question is here. The hidden question here is it possible to scrape websites that use JavaScript to make the page interactive? Because the first few ways that I'm going to show you to do... TS Legends, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. Congrats to everyone. But the first way that I'm going to show you is using a tool, or using something like Cheerio or JSDOM. And these two tools work purely on HTML. They don't... actually, JSDOM is capable of running the JavaScript, but Cheerio, you just pass it an HTML string, and then it allows you to select elements from it. However, if the web page requires JavaScript to add the elements to it, then that's not going to work with something like Cheerio. So for that, you actually could use something like Puppeteer, because Puppeteer is a headless Chrome browser. So it will actually navigate to the page, allow the JavaScript to run, whether it's Vue, React, Angular, vanilla JavaScript, and then after the page is loaded, you can then select elements. So it is possible. However, it's a lot slower because you have to wait for the JavaScript. And my point is going to be, if you are attempting to scrape a website that's built with one of these things, there is most likely an undocumented API that you can call instead. But yeah, thank you, Funny Dude, for that question. This is a good idea. Well, because I think there are quite a few COVID-related data things that we could scrape. What's up, Hydrilla? Welcome. What's up, Dave Hall Online? And Thunveer, and Hemicodes, and Officer Jake Official. and Miruz, and I am, and Boosh, and Ashraf, and Kamiya, and Lifecats, and Program, and Owls. TED Talk says, what's the virtual card service you mentioned a while back, if you don't mind? Privacy. That's all I will say. I mean, that's the answer. I'm not trolling you or anything. But just Google it. What's up, Ogdens, and Thite, and BMax, and Lucian, and Falcon, and Paul, and DHugh, and Seb, and Admiral, and Jaden Humphrey, and Sky Colors, and NXG. What's up, Load, and Joanno, and Modded Tech, and Abdu, and Not Blue Beast, and Folky Bits, and Mergecast, and Element here, and Turner's Edge, and Cataspike, and Marius, and Emilase, and Head Elements, and Faria, and Hacks. Good morning. Thank you. Says it's gonna be okay. So I kind of had like butterflies in my stomach when the stream started, and then when all of you told me that it was gonna be okay, it actually felt okay. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the Coding Garden. So much Clark says excited to scrape. Yeah, it'll be fun. What's up, GD Mikey and Fantasy Teapot? What's up, Randomness and Pure Lol and Loco Dev and Burrs and Acid Spark and Revive Newt? Says I need to add evening in your list. Oh, right. Instead of just morning, afternoon. Do we not have evening? Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah, we need to add evening. I'm not gonna do that though yet, but next time. What's up, Spiuni? It has been a long time. Thank you for being here. All right, quick stretch, everyone. Paul says you inspire us too. Well, thank you, Paul. I'm trying my best. I'm doing my best. What's up, Alien and Folk? I got inspired by a URL shortener. What would you recommend for hosting this type of service? You can use, I mean, I used Heroku. You could potentially use something like Versal, but they do serverless functions. You'd have to figure out, it'd be possible with serverless functions. Yeah. Hi, but a guy? I'm dead. Wait, what? What's up, Aaron? Anon, how's it going? What's up, Jax? And actually, so I have just the thing for you. I created the frequently asked questions, and on the frequently asked questions are what are my preferred ways of deploying things, and the answer is that it actually depends. So I'll just show you this really quick. There's a ton of questions here, a ton, but we have a table of contents, so at a glance you can look at these, and then if you go down to tech preferences, what's your preferred deployment method, I linked to a few different services that I like. So I talked about Versal, there's Heroku, you could use something like AWS Lightsail. Oh, what's up, a Destitute IRL who saw my URL shortener as well. This, I am telling you, this frequently asked question page, it's stacked. You're gonna learn a lot if you're new here. Also, here's something that we don't really talk about, and you may not realize it's a thing. But when people are typing these things in the chat, that's known as Better Twitch TV or Frankerface. So, if you want to experience that, install Better Twitch TV or Finkerface. What's up, Anam and Jax and Math and Push and Arthur? My day's going okay. What's up, Rady? Hey, Kim Philpotts. Thank you for the raid. What are you working on? Welcome, Raiders. We're just getting started. I am 6 minutes away from having said hello to everyone. Xamarin mobile app. Very cool. Hey, shout out to Kim Philpotts. Thanks for being here. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, and right now we're at the beginning of the stream where I just say hello to everybody. We're almost done. What's up, Push and Arthur and Ratty the Brand and Razor and Major Gamer Geek and William and Watchman from the Netherlands. Very cool. What's up, Latent from Norway and Hadouk and Prasanth. Oh yeah, and Raiders, if you want me to say hello to you, just follow this regular expression. Say hi, hello, hey, morning, afternoon, howdy, or scrape, because we're going to be scraping the web, and I will acknowledge you. What's up, Mr. Dev King and Dewanch and Marty and O24 and Ace Lens and Death Charge and Proxin and Shadow. Shadow? What's up, Function? Feeder Geek, how's it going? Good morning. Hello, Sky Color, who says, can we scrape the Twitch chat and use voice synth to say the names of users? I want to be, I don't want to scrape Twitch because it's potentially against their terms of service. The first thing that we're going to talk about is making sure that you're within the terms of service of whatever website you're using. And we're on Twitch right now. We need to behave, so we're not going to scrape Twitch, but yeah. Okay, what's up, Ola? Lashibas, who says, I'm going to try out this wording, so bear with me. Is there a playlist about communicating with the internet, web development, that is generic across multiple languages? I know you'll be using JavaScript, but I code in Java, and I would like to get into web development using Java frameworks. I think I get what you're asking. It's basically like, I mean, I build backends with Node.js and JavaScript. Those backends could be built with Java just as well. There's nothing stopping them from being built with Java. The common language is HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and typically like data formats like JSON. If you're in the Java world, you might be dealing with like XML, but in the majority of APIs these days are JSON. And thank you, Life of Cats, for that host. So if you learn about like the common concepts in just HTTP, so how do HTTP request and how does the HTTP request and response cycle work? How do headers work? How do request bodies work and response bodies? All of those concepts apply to any backend language. Yeah, hopefully that helps. I think the other thing to look for is, so in the Node.js world, I use a library. I mean, most of us, a lot of us, use this library called Express. Now there are other backend libraries for building APIs in Node. There's like Happy.js and Koa, and a few others, but Express is one of the most popular. But Express is actually based off of a library called Sinatra, which was originated in the land of Ruby. So Sinatra came first, and they came up with this idea of like really simple syntax for like defining backend API. So this defines a backend endpoint that responds to GET requests on this URL and responds with this string. So that's Sinatra. Express was inspired by that. If you're in the Python world, Flask is like the Sinatra, not Flask. Like, I gotta search for Python Flask. Python Flask. Come on, DuckDuckGo. Is this it? Is this it? I mean, isn't there like an official Flask website? I don't know, but this is at least it on pip. But you can see this is the Python version. So we have a route that responds to requests on the slash route with this string. And thank you, Sard, for that host as well. So Flask is the Python one. In the C# world, we have this thing called Nancy. Hey, what's up, Crazy Alex? Thank you for that Twitch Prime resub. And yeah. When Vue, you best believe when Vue 3.0 is released, we're gonna do like we might do a celebration. We'll do a full party on it. And this is the C# version. So in C#, you define an API that says when a GET request comes in on slash respond with the string. So all I'm saying is these concepts can be applied to any programming language. You just got to learn the underlying concepts, and you can probably find a Java one. I don't know what the Java version of Sinatra is, but you can always search it. It's just like Java, so like Sinatra for Java. Let's see. Spark. Yeah, look at that. Define a GET route that responds to slash hello with this string. Look at that. Spark, cool. What's up, Himal? And Sensei. Do I plan on doing some advanced production style deployment? Potentially. I mean, most of the ways I've shown to deploy are very similar to production deployment. I mean, the main difference about production deployment is like scalability. But yeah. What's up, Lachlan and Pedro and Gonza? I'm late because of online classes. No worry, no worries. We're still saying hello to everyone. What's up, Tule and Monero and Beige and Wolfie and One Bomi and Whatsa and Player and Firga and William Cameron. Welcome. What's up, MC and Marius and Procrastinating with CJ and Richard and Sid and Foud and Federico and Jack Hammer. Who says the stream is very relevant. I started a DB on the back end, and I'm going to seed with data from various APIs. Ah, yes, we might need to scrape to get that data. What's up, Marlon and Armpie? Your streams make my day. Thank you, Armpie. What's up, Ace Lade and Nanak and Sardam, who discovered me through the coding train. Very cool. Yeah, I'll mention. So the live stream that I did on the coding train a while back, like about a year and a half ago, what do you call it? The thing, it was called Build a Full Stack Twitter Clone with Coding Garden. Now, it's a very simple application, and this video is really meant for beginners. But in this video, I basically describe how the web works. So we talk about front-end servers, or like static file servers, dynamic servers. We talk about databases. We talk about how there's certain JavaScript code that runs on the client versus backend code that runs on the server. And I draw like diagrams and stuff like that. And so all of the concepts I talk about there could be applied to any backend language. You would still need JavaScript for the front end, but you could use any backend language to build the backend that we build in that video. Well, welcome, Naina and Cybersonic. Welcome. Hello, SQL Gordster, and Logic, and Acid, and Crispy, and WebDev, and Prasanth, and Negatron Bear, who says, I'm about to rebuild a Vue app through the CLI to have TypeScript. I noticed you use the Airbnb config on the linter. Is there any reason you like to use that one over the default error prevention one? I've just used it for a very long time, and I've worked a couple different places where Airbnb, they either use the Airbnb config or they slightly modified it. So I'm just used to those rules, and I agree with a lot of them. I like single quotes. I like semicolons. I like to prefer let and const. I like to prefer destructuring. I like to prefer arrow functions and callbacks. So there's a lot of rules in there that I like. Code Forces round is about to start. All right, see you later, Dewanch. We did it, everyone. We said hi to as many people as we could. And oh, hello, Code. Welcome, GG. How do I say your name? Now I'm curious. Okini, thank you for being here. All right, so we got a few follows. Let's acknowledge these follows, and then we're going to make an agenda for today. So the Less Travel Road, thank you for being here. What's up, Shoko? And Sam and Burrs, and they call me Jamarcus. Thank you very much for the follow. Grunt, thanks for being here. What's up, Existential Crisis? And Jogarat, and Monhero Dude, and you, welcome you. What's up, Cello Jello, and Bruncel, and Fruit Shop, and Metal, and I forgot how to say your name already. Welcome. And Onjioi, welcome. Thank you for being here. The Rufa, thank you for the follow. Astro, thanks for following. Whatsa, thank you for the follow. Julian, thank you for the follow. Chipcode, thank you for the follow. Max, we appreciate you. And Mandrake Venom Leet, welcome to the Coding Garden. Cheers, everyone. What's up, Finestra? And Shifty MC Hacks, yeah, what's up? You can make a stylus for Twitch and add these. Stream header, height. Hey, I'm not opposed to it. Thank you, Akka. Let's do it. All right. a quick little thing. I have this extension installed called Stylus. And this allows me to add custom styles to any website I want. So apparently there's already, oh, thank you, Paranoid Android. Apparently there's already a style for Twitch. Oh yeah, I remember we did this once. So whenever we do a Twitch poll, there was like a really weird color that didn't work with the foreground color. So we wrote a custom style that changed the background of a Twitch poll. But this extension is really cool. You can choose what websites should these styles apply to. So we're actually going to apply it to twitch.tv. And then we'll do what Alka said, which basically is just going to make my chat header a lot smaller. So the chat header will have a smaller height, and then the right column will be moved up a little bit. So I'm going to save this style, and that applies to this page. Do I have to refresh? Might have to refresh. I don't know what it did, but it should have done something. No, it's already done? Okay. But what's really cool is, so I can say where this should apply. I mean, technically I could say like only apply it whenever I'm on this specific URL. URL's on, not on this domain, so this specific URL starting with this. And then I could save that. But you could do this for anything. So I have, so like you see how my GitHub is dark? I actually have a custom style for GitHub. Isn't it? I actually don't know what changed, but we changed it. And if you want to link to that extension as well as other extensions, you can look in the frequently asked questions. There is what browser do I use and what extensions do I use right here. I'm going to talk about Grease Monkey and Stylus and stuff like that. It made the stream chat tiny. Oh, this part. Okay, let's get into it. We got it. Well, last thing, we got some redemptions. Then we'll get into it. Demon, thank you for the stretch. Arthur, thank you for the posture check. Paul, cheers. Thank you for the hydrate. William Cameron, cheers. DS Legends, thank you for the posture check. Slake, thank you for the hydrate. Cushy Mushy, thank you. I realized I thanked 2 of you and I didn't even drink, so 2 drinks. Catalactus, thank you for the hydrate. Monero, thank you for the hydrate. We need to increase the price. Too many people are redeeming. Limaroos, thank you for the hydrate. Plush, Much appreciated. And Revive Newt, thank you for the stretch. This is basically like Dance Monkey Dance. Look what I can do. I can make CJ do anything. Okay, let's get into this. So we need an agenda. Yeah, drown me in hydrates. Code reviews are paused right now. To do. First up, we'll just talk about legality. In your legality of scraping where you live. First thing. Before that, let's start before that, like, what is web scraping? Why would I need it? Cool. So what is web scraping? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the legality of web scraping where you live. We are going to scrape a table, probably from a table of data. We're going to take that table of data and turn it into an API, but we'll probably use Wikipedia for that. No, we're not building Google. But technically, like, the spiders that crawl the web are like a form of web scrapers, because they click all the links and they follow the links and then they aggregate that. But yeah. And Doc is saying the act of scraping itself being legal is just one aspect. The data you actually get could be under copyright data protection laws. Yeah, that's a good point. So, the act of doing it, the data you collect. So, like, if you're scraping a website that's behind some sort of paywall and the information that it's providing is actually copyrighted or requires payment or something like that, and you're offering it up for free, you shouldn't be doing that. Oh yeah, robots.txt. Yeah, let's talk about that too. I mean, that's not necessarily on the legality. That's more of on be nice when scraping. So we can talk about like rate limits. We'll talk about robots.txt. Oh, like health records, mugshots. Sure. Yeah. So, like, because I mean, there are websites that aggregate mugshots. You technically could scrape them and archive them, but then that might be against some terms or something like that. Yeah. What about a sitemap? I don't know how a sitemap relates to robots.txt. Like, what I know of it is that the robots.txt tells you what you should and should not look at as like a bot crawling the web. The sitemap, I don't know if this is associated with like publicly accessible pages on the website, or if this really is just used for like search engine. I don't know. If you scrape to get links that you just forward to, is that different? I'm not sure. Like, it all really depends. I'm gonna do my, like, first of all, I'm not a lawyer. I'm gonna do my best to just make you aware of these things, so that way when if you decide to do something like this, know that you need to do your research. All the things we're gonna scrape today, hey, Kilowatt, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. But all the things we're gonna scrape today are going to be things that we will not get in trouble for scraping. Yeah, so we're gonna scrape a table of data. We then will potentially later talk about, like, what about sites that use JS? Hey, Revive Newt, thank you for more gifted subs. Much appreciated. So for this, we can use something like Puppeteer. I don't know how to spell Puppeteer. Or we could use undocumented, or we could try to find undocumented APIs. Puppeteer. Hey, Muzam, thank you very much for that Twitch Prime resub. How does a resub work? I mean, it just means that you've subbed again, and you've been here for 2 months. So, Puppeteer is would be like the Node.js version of Selenium. Selenium, I believe, is like Java. Yeah, I saw Playwright. It looked pretty interesting, but I'm more familiar with Puppeteer. Nightwatch and Express are more for testing, but they do browser automation in a very similar way that like Puppeteer and Playwright do. Yeah, is RSS feed scraping content? I mean, RSS feeds are meant to be consumed. I don't know. Let's get into it. First of all, what is web scraping? Let's talk about it. So, let's say there is some data on the web that you want to use in your website. And I think we're actually going to bounce around here. So I'm going to basically talk about what is it while actually showing you how to do it. So for example, if we go to Wikipedia and we see like the list of US states. So like, let's say, we want this list of data that's in this table here, right? And this is why I'm saying this is just like, this is innocuous data. I think that's the right word. Sometimes I use the wrong, if you're new here, sometimes I use the wrong words, but I think innocuous is the right word. Like this is, you could get this data anywhere. I'm not going to hurt anybody by scraping the names of the states and the abbreviations and potentially like their population from this table that is on Wikipedia. Is innocuous the right word? I think that means like non-harmful. It's public information, right? It's like there's nothing wrong with this data. I'm gonna scrape it. And so the idea is like, let's say you wanted to build a website that listed all of the U.S. states. It is the right word. Thank you, Emily. So you want to build a website that lists all of the U.S. states. How are you going to get that data? Like you could copy and paste this, but what if the list of states changes? I know that it doesn't. I realize that it's pretty set in stone that there are 50 U.S. states. There could be more. I mean, we may bring more in. I don't know. But what if this data was changing? I may potentially want to automate the process of getting the data out of this. Oh, you know what? You know what can change about this table? The population, right? So let's say I wanted to keep track of the population of all the U.S. states based on this table. Yeah, and we could get new territories. It's very possible. And it would be very cumbersome if I needed to go in and basically like copy this, put it into a spreadsheet. That would be very manual, right? So I can actually write code that picks out and extracts the data from this page, and then I can use it in anything I want. I could take that data, I could put it in a database. I could basically do a just-in-time scrape where whenever I need it, I can run a script that scrapes this and turns the data into like a consumable format like JSON or something like that. The capital city may change. Yeah, so we're gonna just scrape this really quick. So I'll show you what I mean. So this is HTML, and I'll show you like the first thing you should look at when you're trying to scrape a website is look at the source of the web page. Like when you look at the source of the web page, you should see the thing that you want. So I'm actually just going to search for search for Montgomery in the source code of this web page. And there it is. So Wikipedia is an example of a server-side rendered website. So whenever you make the request to get this Wikipedia page, the Wikipedia server actually sends you back all of the HTML you need to actually view this web page. So when I look at the source of it, I can see the table. This is the table with there are the headers there with like cities, ratification, population, and then I can see each of the rows with like Alabama and all of these different things. So the fact that when I look at the source of the web page, I can see the data that I want, that means that this website is like it's easily scrapable. Like it's not dynamic. It's not using JavaScript to generate that data. All of this data is generated on the server and sent back to the client. So basically what we need to do is we need to write code that makes a request to get the source code of the web page, right? We need to make a request to get the HTML. And then once we have that HTML, we can write code that's going to like pick out the different things that we need. So let's just get that set up really quick. So let's make a directory called list of US states. No, we're gonna move it. We're gonna call it US states. That's easier. Cool. So we're gonna go into that directory. I'm using Node.js. So npm is our package manager in the land of Node.js. I'm gonna use npm init to generate my package JSON. So this is my basically my configuration for my Node.js app. This is where I can list dependencies, I can list any sort of reusable scripts, and then I'm going to install a few things. So the first thing I'm going to install is a library that will allow me to make HTTP requests. Now, there are a lot of different libraries for this. I'm going to use one, and then there's going to be 10 people in the chat that are going to tell me to use something else, but I'm going to use what I like to use. And for that, I'm going to use a thing called Axios. The reason I'm going to use Axios is because it has built-in error handling. It basically does a lot for me, whereas if I were to use something like Node Fetch, I would have to do manual error handling. So I like Axios. I'm going to use Axios. Yeah, there's a lot of people here. You're welcome, Lechi. Cool. So we have Axios, and this is a library that we're going to use that will allow us to programmatically make a request to get the source code of this web page, to get the HTML. Fetch is way better. Use Node Fetch. Stop it. I told you. Okay, so we have Axios. That's going to let us make the request. And then the next thing we need is something to actually extract out the data. But first of all, I'll just show you how we can write code that makes an HTTP request. So here we go. inside of this folder, we're going to create a new file. I'm just going to call it index.js. And we're going to write a function called getUSStates, like this. So this function will be an asynchronous function because it has to make an HTTP request. But when I call this function, it's going to make that HTTP request. I need to bring in that Axios library that I installed. So I'm going to say Axios equals require Axios. So in Node.js, this is how we bring in libraries that we've installed with npm, right? So now I have that library, and now I want to make the request. So what I need is I need the URL. So if you're totally new to all of this, whenever you go to a website, that is an HTTP request. Your web browser is making a GET request for this web page. Like look at this. We can look at the network tab. We can see when the page is first loaded. Actually, I think I have persist logs on, but look at this. This is an HTTP request to this URL. It's a GET request. The server responded with the 200 status code. So your browser behind the scenes is making HTTP requests. We're just going to do that with code. So we have the page URL. We'll put that in a variable like this. So that's literally just the URL to Wikipedia. And then I want to make a request to it. So I'll say we're going to grab out the data from axios.get. So this is how we programmatically make a GET request to that page. So I'm going to call this page URL, and then I'm just going to log out the data. So this should actually just be the HTML. This should be the HTML of the web page, and we should see it in my console. So let's call this function, and let's see what happens. So we're going to run this file with Node.js. Ta-da! So you can see we literally have the entire HTML source code, and now we can do something with it, right? And we're inside of code. It's not visual. It's not a visual browser or anything like that. This is literally code that's running. Now, I like to use JavaScript. It's the thing that I like to use. Ta-da! There are other programming languages, and you can do this in other programming languages. So somebody mentioned Beautiful Soup. Beautiful Soup is the way you would do something like this in Python. But this just is code. If you have something that can run code, it most likely could do something similar to this. Okay, so we have the HTML. Now what we want to do is we want to extract out that data. So to extract out the data, I'm going to use a library called Cheerio. Mainly because I'm familiar with it, but I think after we get this working, I'm going to try to get it working with JS DOM as well. But Cheerio is very interesting. Cheerio works very similar to jQuery, but it works on the server side. So the way Cheerio works is you call load, and you pass in an HTML string. So I already have that HTML string. I made the request to that URL. I got back the HTML. I'm going to load it in, and then we can use selectors. We're not hacking. No, we're not. We are not hacking. I mean, technically, we're like typing out some code. We could use a regular expression. There's a lot of ways to do it, but this makes it really, really easy because if you're familiar with selecting elements, excuse me. We interrupt this coding to burp. If you're familiar with jQuery and like selecting elements on the page, you can do that with this. So before I install this library, let me show you. I'm pretty sure we have, do we have jQuery on this page? Let's see. So if I do $.function.j, hey, look at that. So Wikipedia actually comes with jQuery. So this makes it like really, really useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write code in the browser, but I'm going to write code that's going to help me figure out what code I need to write in my scraping code. So basically, the first thing I want to write code that will select this table element. We can look in the inspector to see if there's anything special about it. So I click on inspector, click this, and then we can try to figure out like what is something unique or special about this particular table. We can see that the table has a bunch of classes on it. Wiki table, sortable, plain row headers. And like one thing we can do is if you right click this, you can go to copy CSS selector. And this will actually give you a specific CSS selector to get that element. And then we can select it with jQuery. So if I just pass in that selector, oh, look at this. So the way that Firefox has figured out to tell me is grab the 15th child of an element called wiki table. And that gives us back the table. So look at that. So if I hover over it, we actually have the table. Now, one of the things about scraping is web pages could change, right? So I'm going to attempt to extract out this table, but what if one day, hey, Nyax Dead, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. But what if one day this becomes the 14th table or the 16th table, then my code breaks? So I need to figure out like a more reproducible selector, just to make sure that I always grab the right table. Let's just do this. I'm going to copy this CSS, and let's see if we can use that in the selector. So the way this works is I have a table that has all of these CSS classes. So I could do table.wikitable.sortable.plain_row_headers.jQuery table sorter. Like that. So there are actually 4 tables on the page that have these classes. And this is actually the first one. This is the first one on the page. There are other tables that have that selector, but we do know that this is the first one. For now, I'm just going to use this selector, but you could basically use any CSS selector to figure out what's the best way to find your element, and you want it to be reproducible. You don't want it to be brittle, like get the 15th element that's after the H1 or something like that. That's another good point. Yeah. And so Brandon has a good way to do it. So like we could potentially find the element that has this text, and then we could say grab the next table after this specific piece of text. Let's see if there's anything special about this. This caption is actually inside of the table. You know what? Let's do this. This will be an interesting selector. Let's do this. I want to select the caption that has the words "States of the United States of America." Let's do it. And you can do that with a selector. So you could do. Yeah. Let's do it. And it's actually inside of the table, which makes it even nicer because we can just get the parent element. So we can say, I want. How do I do this? So I want caption. Actually, let's see how many captions are on the page. There are quite a few. We need to find the selector for like the content, something like, I don't like, something like where the content is this. I need to figure out what the selector is. Let's do this. CSS selector for text content. Contains? Yeah, it could be contains. Hey, look at that. Nice. Nice. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we could map over them, but watch this. We're gonna get a very specific selector. So we're gonna say caption. We want a caption that contains this. Hey, look at this. It didn't work. So the length is 0. Let's see if we did it right. Oh, is content still on there? Oh, that's why it didn't work. Thank you. Hey, length 1. So that means now we have a very specific selector. And I think so what we noticed was that in the page, the caption is inside of the table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say select this element, and then let's just grab the parent, because then I know that I have the table. So in jQuery, I can just say grab the 0th element, that is that specific caption, and then this should have like a parent property. Parent element? Yeah, look at that. So if I grab that caption and say parent element, then that gives us the table. So this is what I'm going to use. So this is basically the code I need that is going to... Oh, it's parent is in jQuery? Okay, so we could just say parent. Look at that. And that gives us the table. Thank you, Alka. So I've figured out the selector that I need here in the console. This is a great way to just like type things out and figure out what you need. And now we can use this inside of our code. So we've already made the request to get the HTML. Now we need to somehow use this selector, right? We need to use this selector on the page somehow to get back the table. How do we do that? With Cheerio. So I'm going to install this library called Cheerio. Like I mentioned, it's like jQuery, but on the server. That installed it, and then now I can use it. So just like we brought in Axios, I'll bring in Cheerio. And then we can load the web page into it. So all I got to do is say this $ is equal to cheerio.load, and I pass in the data. And so this will, so remember, data is the HTML. We're passing that HTML into Cheerio. We get back this $, and then now we can actually use it. And hopefully this selector that I figured out will work in the same way. So I'm actually just going to log out to see, did I actually select the table? from that. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. Hey, it's not undefined. The fact that it's not undefined is a beautiful thing. That means that I actually was able to select that table. Look at that. It's a table. We have it. Okay, so now that we have the table, we need to look at all of the rows, and then we'll get the specific data. First try. First try. Let's look at the inspector again. So right inside of the table, if we look at the table header, that's going to be... Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. We could have a completely dynamic scraper. We could have a scraper that figures out what the headers in the table are. Exception dev. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Test pass. Yeah, we could write code that explicitly extracts out the headers of the table. I'm just gonna assume, I'm making assumptions. I'm gonna assume that the rows are always in the same. Oh, you know what? I don't like this. I don't like the fact that this column actually could have two pieces of data in it, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But I'm going to assume that these columns are always in the same order, and then we're just going to grab the information itself. So if we don't want the T head, we want the T body. So the T body is actually all of the rows. So let's select that. So I'm going to say the body is going to be table.find T body. Yeah, let's see. And so that's going to be the specific T-body. And actually, I could do table.find T-body TR. So TR is the selector for each individual row. So look at that. There's a row. There's a row. There's a row. Hey, Wahlberg. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Very much appreciated. Okay, so this should give us back, actually, the rows. Let's see if this works. Let's just log the rows. Hey, we have a thing. And look, you can see all of its children. So these are actually all of the rows in the table. Very cool. I believe. Oh, no. Look at this. Look at this. There are 51 of them, which means that's most likely all 50 US states and then like Puerto Rico or something like that. Well, that's great. So we have it. Thoughts on what? Okay, so we have all of the rows. Now we actually want to get the data. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a variable called like states, and this is just going to be an array, and then we're going to put the data into this array. And if you give me just a second, I got to do a thing. And actually, you might appreciate this. I'm about to remove the background noise. Test. How's that? Can you hear me? Oh, it's probably way too loud. Check. Test. Test. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes? Is it good? Yes. Okay. Awesome. All right, so we figured out that this is going to give us all of the rows. This is where we're going to keep track of all of the US states. So I actually don't need to put this in a variable. What we're going to do is we're going to use .each. So this is a function that's built into jQuery that allows you to iterate over a collection of the elements that were selected. So I'm actually using RTX voice. That's how we got rid of that. But, cool. So now we want to look at every single row. So I'm going to say each, and then that's going to give us the index and then the element. And right now, I'm just going to log element.text content. Is that a thing? Will this work? Undefined. So element is an actual, like, so here's the tricky part. Like, element is an actual HTML element, but it's inside of this Cheerio thing, so it doesn't necessarily have the same properties as a DOM element. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to create an element called $element that is equal to that element passed into jQuery. We could get the inner HTML, you're right, but I'm going to go ahead and do this because we would need to do this anyways. And so typically when you are using each, you're getting back an element, you're not getting back a jQuery collection. So we're going to take that element, turn it into a collection. Thank you very much, Reloading, for that Twitch Prime sub. We're going to turn it into a collection, and then we can do things like this. So I'm going to say log element.text. So we can use properties that are built into jQuery. All right, so now this should log the text of every single row. Are you ready? Look at that. We got Wyoming, we got Wisconsin, we got West Virginia, Washington. Great. So Now it's just a matter of plucking out all the data in each of the columns. So inside of this loop, we're going to create a variable called state, which will just be an object. And then we can set properties on this object like state.name. Let's do it. So the name is just going to be the first column in that row. So it's actually going to be the th. Th is the table header or the row header for whatever reason. And we're just going to grab the first th, and we're going to get the text content inside of it. Let's see. We actually could get the flag information too. Oh, that could be fun. Let's do it. We'll grab the flag, and for now we're just going to grab the state. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's say the state.name is equal to element.find, and we want to find the th. There's only going to be one th in that row because it's the table header, and then we're going to grab the text of it. And now let's log our states. So log our state. So we should see a bunch of objects logged to the console. Hey, look at that. So we have a bunch of objects. We've got all of this. What is this? For some reason, it's grabbing the first 2 rows. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, technically it's grabbing the, because we're already inside of the T body, that it would miss the header row, and it would miss this. Well, that's okay. Yeah. So let's fix this. So right now you can see that all of these have like a slash in on them. That means line break. So it would be like a new line. So one of the things that I typically like to do is after you've extracted the text in JavaScript, you can just say trim, and that removes any of the extra stuff. So you can see that removed all of the new lines. I want to figure out how to not have, excuse me, how to not have these 2 rows. I thought because we were in the T body we wouldn't, but let's see. Yeah, like we could basically skip the first 2. Like we know that for whatever reason right now the first 2 are the header rows. Yeah, so we could just skip them. That'd be the easiest. But I'm really curious why these are actually showing up even though I'm inside the T body. Because I'm saying for that table, find T body with TR. But oh well. And actually, does jQuery collection have slice? Oh, it does. Yeah. So let's just do that. Let's just skip the first 2. Easy enough. Let it be known. There's a lot of different ways to do this. We could come up with a better selector, but now there we go. So now we only get the information that we want. I'm very curious why some states end with like an E. Let's see. So what's the first one that RTX is glitchy? How do I use OBS filters? You mean just like a noise gate? It's not the same though. I'm gonna leave it for now. So that's a good thing to try. What's up? So find TRs that are a direct descendant of T body, and then we don't need to slice it. Maybe sound fine to me. Oh yeah, I'm gonna leave it. The main reason is I not only need the what am I trying to say? I don't only need the like the noise suppression. I actually need artificial intelligence to remove background noise. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, thank you, MLAs. Thank you very much. So we're gonna do the slice. It's good enough for now. So when we do the slice, it removes the first 2 rows. But we can see, this is fine. We can see that the first one that has that E is Kentucky. Let's just take a look at that element and see why that's happening. So if we look at Kentucky, hey, share mouse, calm down. If we look at it, it's got that. So maybe we can find a more specific selector that doesn't have it. It's an anchor tag. It's actually an anchor tag. So we could find the very first anchor tag. Let's see, is this an anchor tag too? No. So let's actually, instead of just finding the TH, let's find the anchors tag inside of it and grab its text, because that way we won't be grabbing the other thing as well. So I'll do TH, and then we want one specific A. Let's see if this does a better job. Nope. We kind of want to grab the first one because there could be more than one. I think that might be the issue, is that there's more than one. So if we grab the first one and then grab its text, let's see. Yeah, look at that. So there were technically multiple anchor tags inside of it. So we just grabbed the first one and only grabbed its text instead of everything, and that removes the extras. So look at us. Look at us. Can you do first? Let's try it. Does first return a jQuery collection? So grab the first element and its text and trim. Hey, nice. Great job, Alka. Thank you very much. So grab the first element that matches this, grab its text and trim it. Great. Okay, so we have the name. What else do we want? Let's grab the abbreviation. That should just be the next row. Yeah, and so here's what I'm going to do. Actually, I'm curious what's happening inside of this. I'm curious what's happening whenever there are two elements. So so we have Montgomery. Yeah, so this is the tricky part. Basically, if the length of number of columns is greater than the normal amount, then that means we actually have the city and the largest. I don't like this, because you can see that this has 2 columns instead of just 1. I don't like it one bit. Remove the unnecessary states. Are you trolling, Doc? Come on. Let's take a quick stretch. Let's take a break. We've written some code. This is fun. If you have learned something, type 1 in the chat. If you've learned anything at all, type 1 in the chat. Break. 2? Nice. It's good to hear. So this is basic. Yeah, I'm gonna do things that are actually very brittle, but just let it be known that, I mean, the nice thing about this is, like, it did not take me long at all to write this code, right? Like, it's taking because I'm explaining everything, but I could have busted out this code in like 2 or 3 minutes. So should you like spend a lot of time finding like the perfect selector? You can. Like, if you want your code to be really resilient to change in the web page, then yeah, you should spend time finding those selectors. But we're gonna hack it. We're just gonna do our best. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push that state into my array of states, and then at this point I'm just gonna log out states. So after we've done everything, we should get back a big old object with all the things we need. Cool. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna say select all of the rows, which are the TDs. So we get this row element. Actually, I'm gonna rename this to row, because it's a bit more descriptive of what it is, $row. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, Officer Jake, is if the number of rows is more than I expect it to be, then I know that the second and third ones are actually the largest city and the most, and the capital city. Okay, so I'm going to say columns is going to be our row, and we want to find all of the TDs. So find all of the columns inside of that row, and then let's just look at the length. Let's look at the length of that column. And for now, I'm not going to log everything out. I just want to see how many there are. Yeah, so you can see if there are 12 columns, then that means we have a row that specifies the capital and the largest city. If there are only 11 columns, then we know we have a row that only specifies the capital city, which is technically also the largest city. On line 12, I have a $. Yep, it needs to be there. So the reason this is just a convention, but I'm basically calling it $row because this is a variable that has a jQuery collection inside of it. You could just call it row. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I'm switching, so I'm switching between windows. So when I press Command Tab, that's going to my terminal. When I press Command Tab, we're going back to my, no, this is VS Code. This is where I write my code. I can go from my terminal to my tab, to my code. I can go back to the browser. I'm using Command Tab for that. Okay, so we have the columns. Now I'm gonna be really, okay, so let's say this. If state.columns dot length, oh no, sorry, if columns.length is equal to 12, we're gonna do this. Otherwise, it's 11, and we're gonna do that. So we're gonna be super hacky about it, but we'll say state dot, what is this, the abbreviation? We'll call it code, state.code equals columns. I believe I could do get, so we want to get the first column, and we want to grab its text. And that's actually going to be the same for both, regardless of if there are 12 or 11 columns. Cool. So at this point, we should have all the state codes. Ah! Columns.get.text is not a function. Well, I could process each TD checking the column span attribute. Yeah, you're not wrong. However, it doesn't have a column span attribute. Yeah, that's why I didn't like it, because there is no column span. It's just literally extra columns. What? No, so whenever you do get, that gets the underlying HTML element. They do have a column span? Where? Prove it to me. Call span equals 2. Oh, check Phoenix. Ah, okay, check for a row that does not have multiple. Yeah, I like it. Alex Craven, thank you very much for the 2-month resub. Very much appreciated. Okay, so yeah, we could be more specific about it. So basically, we can iterate over each row. We could have an array of columns. So let's do this. So we could have something like labels. Our labels are going to be code. We then have capital. And actually, what comes first? Yeah, we're just going to store the capital. We then have ratification. We then have population. Now, I mentioned it earlier. Technically, we could write code that automatically extracts out these headers, right? I'm just going to do it manually. Population. We have area in miles. We have area in kilometers squared. Hello, Yusuf. I'm doing pretty good. What else do we have? Oh, total area. I'm just formatting it so that it would do this. Okay, so we have total area. Got that. This is the land area. I guess area is always squared, so we don't need the 2. Is that what you're saying, Alka? Right, okay. Hello, YouTube. This is a live stream that you did not tune into. Land area. All right, we need to have a water area. We have number of representatives, and that's it. Number of reps. Okay, so these are all of the columns, and now if we iterate over the column, so we'll do something like this. Hey, Flaus! Thank you for that Twitch Prime resub. Who says, thanks a lot for the help with feathers. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you could figure some things out. Okay, so we're going to iterate over each of the columns. That's going to give us the index and also the element itself. Now, we can say the column is equal to the element selector for that specific element. And now we can use the index to match up with the label, right? So I can just say state at, so let's grab the label. So we'll say label equals labels at that specific index. And then I'll say state at that label is equal to this column, grab the text, trim it. Done. All right. Now, this is going to break. This is going to break because we're not accounting for if it has multiple things. So like if we, for example, if we look at our very first one, it's gonna break because we need to tell it to like, we need to do some things. So we're saying the population is December 14th, 1819. That's wrong. But if we look at Arizona, this one did it correctly. But so basically what we need to do, and what people were mentioning is, okay, so if the column index is 1, then that means we're in the capital and population area. So we'll say if I is equal to 1, and so we'll say let has extra column, we're going to default to false. Default to false. And we're going to say has extra column. If we're in the first column is we're going to grab this column, and then we need to get the attribute. The attribute we want is column span. What was it? Yeah, column span equals 2. So we can grab the attribute itself and say, is that equal to the value 2? If it's not equal to that. Right? Right? No hyphen? Oh, you're right. Yeah. So it's just call span. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting that specific attribute and grabbing the data out of it. So call span. And I really don't even need to do this. I really just need to say, like, if the index is 1 and the attribute is column span attribute is equal to 2, then we'll just say I plus equals 1. So we basically no, minus equals. Wait, what am I doing? No, because then I have to look at the previous element. If it's 2, it doesn't have an extra. Yeah, the tricky part is I actually need this information. I need this information for the next rows. Yeah, this is actually way trickier than it needs to be. Yeah, I have to have a variable outside of the loop. Okay. So we're finding each specific column. That's the TD, right? And if the number of columns is greater, and actually, I mean, look, look. It have offset, okay. And then we reset our offset whenever I is 0. So offset starts at 0. We're gonna look at each individual row. We're gonna do this mess. So if I is equal to 1, so if we're in the second column and the column attribute is equal to 2, then we're gonna say offset equals 1. And then we need to increment the offset of the label. Right? Actually, we need to just skip that element. I guess what I was doing is, because I was actually going to skip the most populous state, but or largest. So we need to keep track of that now. So we have capital, and then we also have largest. It's only going to happen once per row. So we get this specific column. No, but when I'm done with each row, I need to reset offset to 0. Yeah. So here I'll say if I is equal to yeah. Yep. So basically what I'm doing is, if it has a column span of 2, we're going to skip largest. And, I mean, actually, we don't really even want to skip it. And then we need the length of the columns. Okay. Looping over the TD in a row, the row loop is around that. You're defining the offset within the row. Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. Thank you. Okay, that's great. So this should do it. The only thing is we're gonna be missing the largest for some of them. I think it should do it. Right. So yeah, we have capital and then we have largest city. But for anything where the capital and the largest city were the same, we don't have it defined. Like we can look at our third one, Arizona. So we have largest, but we don't have capital. And actually, do something like this. Let's grab the value up here. So grab the value. That way we can reuse it. And here we can actually just grab the current one. So we can say label equals labels at I, and then put that there. So that it'll grab the current label, which is actually capital, and set it. Otherwise, use the offset. Okay. Now we just want to find Arizona. We just need to find the largest. Let's see. Put it in an else. Yeah. Main reason is the first time we find it, we want to use the current label. And then we set the offset. Right? Right? So we have the capital is Phoenix, but we don't have a largest. Oh, because we skipped it. We actually need to do both. Yeah, we need to do both. You're right. That's why I put value in there. So because we need to override it in both places. It's both the capital and the largest city. All right. Yeah, you're right, Doc. But also, I need to keep moving. I gotta keep people's attention. So this is great. We were actually done a lot here. So, let's see. There we go. So whenever the capital and the largest city are the same, it sets it. And Doc has a really good point. Like when you're dealing with web scraping, you're gonna come across scenarios like this where the way the page is structured is not consistent, and you need to figure out a way to extract that data in a somewhat consistent way. And so this is fairly robust because we're basically looking at a specific attribute that tells us how many columns it does span. So I think it's good enough. Why is this complaining? Already declared in the, let's call this call. And technically we should call this J because we have we're actually, this is a loop inside of a loop. We're looping over all of the rows, then we're looping over all of the columns. The mic has a lot of highs and it hurts. I'm sorry, everybody. Where are my highs at? How's that? Is that a little bit better? Okay, so this is great. We have the states. I think we're in a good spot. So basically, we have we've got all the data. Like another thing we could do is we could turn these strings into numbers. So basically, we could like extract out the commas and turn it into a number because they basically are. Pretty much anything after. Skip the hard-coded index check and increase the offset by column span -1. Probably, but I think I'm done with this. J+1? but I only increment it in certain scenarios. I'm done. I'm done with this. We've done enough. Let it be known there are better ways to write this code, and you can write this code in a better way. But I was just demonstrating the basic idea of requesting the web page, extracting out the data. What happened to my mic? I'm using RTX voice to remove background noise. Is it okay? Yeah. There's a lot you could do. Yeah. So that's one thing the one last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check to see if this value is a number, and if it is, we're gonna keep it as a number instead of a string. So let's just say let's say let value equal that, and then we'll say let num value equal value, not that. Mike sounds fine? Okay. Value, we're going to replace any occurrence of a comma. So I'm using a regular expression so that it matches every single comma. Replace every single comma with nothing. And then put it into a number. Try to parse it as a number. And if this is not nan, can I use isNan? If this is not nan, then the value equals the num value. Do that. All right, does this work? It does. So you can see how these are now yellow instead of green. They're actual numbers. This is a lot better for people if like you're turning this into an API. Let it be known, there are a million better ways to do this. We're not writing the best code here. We're just making it work for now. Awesome. So this is great. Let's look back at our README to see where we're at. So what is web scraping and why would we need it? Basically, there's some web page on the internet that has some data and you want to use that data in your website. So yeah, let's just build a really simple web page really quick that actually uses this data. So in here, let's create a folder called I can't use replace all. Is it not in node 14? Let's just create like a public folder. Inside of that, we're going to have our index.html, and we're going to create, now at this point, we're going to write our own front end. We're going to just do some basic front end stuff, put it in an HTML table. We could basically put it back into a table. Yeah, so, okay, yeah, we'll just call this US states. You know what I'm going to do? No. I'm going to put it into a dropdown. We're going to have a drop-down where you select the US state, and then after you've selected it, it shows the information about it. We're going to be interesting. But why? Okay, so this is front-end code. And basically, in this front-end code, I want to get access to this scraped data. So what I need to do is I need to turn this into an API. At this point, this is just back-end code, right? Like, this is just code that can run on a server somewhere. Hey, Jay Lee, thank you for being a YouTube member. That's really weird to see during a live stream on Twitch. But actually, I am premiering a YouTube video right now. I just need to go thank them really quick. Thank you, Jay Lee. Well, who was it? Jay Lee? Cool. All right. All right. So, like I mentioned, right now I'm G Lee. Oh well, it's fine. Close enough. But right now I'm running this code in my terminal. I want to make this data available. I want to make this data available to front ends so that they can request it. And for that, we're going to build a simple API. So, in my backend here, I'm going to install this library called Express. We talked about it earlier, but Express allows us to create backend APIs with JavaScript. So we're going to use Express. And I think that's about all we need. Like, you can create a very robust API, but for now, it's going to be a super simple API that just has a route to respond with the states. So now we have Express. Let's bring it in and create an Express app. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and rename this index file. Let's just call this file, this index file, get US states. And this file, get US states, will just export the function that I've defined in it. So instead of immediately calling it, we're just going to export it so that way we can use it elsewhere. So we will say module.exports equals get US states. So we're making it available to the outside world. And now instead of just logging states to the console, we're actually going to return states. And so now this function that I've written is reusable. We can close that file. We don't really even have to look at it again unless the page changes. And now we can call that function inside of our API. So let's create a new index.js that is our Express app. So I just need to bring in Express from that Express library that I installed. So we have the Express library, then we need an app. And then we're going to listen on a specific port. So I'm just going to say app.listen. For now, we're just going to listen on port 4242. That means our API will be available to request locally on port 4242. And then we're just going to have a simple route. So I'll say whenever we request slash, let's do like API slash states. We're going to make this an async function. So we have our request. We have our response. Whenever someone makes a request to our API slash states, we're going to scrape the web page. We're gonna do that request to Wikipedia, get the HTML, and scrape the data out. So first of all, I need to bring in that function that's in that separate file. So I'll say get US states is require that relative file. So if you're new to Node.js, relative paths just mean require files that I've written. If there's no relative path, then that means it's potentially a core module or it's a module you've installed with npm. So cool, we have this function now. So then we can just say states equals await get US states, and then we can respond with those states. That's pretty much it. Let's just start it up. So I'll do node index again, and now it's actually running. Let's do this just to be nice. We're gonna output to the console. Listening at http://localhost, and then some port, and then we'll put that port in a variable. Typically, you read from the port in variable. It's a convention to read from that, and then if it's not defined, you can have like your default port. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that just to be nice. Let it be known, I know how to write code. I'm just choosing to write sloppy code right now because we're in a rush. Cool. So now it says listening at 4242. And when we go there, we don't have a slash route. We'll fix that. But if I request /API/states, so let's look at how this is working. I've built an API. I have said when my server receives a GET request to the endpoint API/states, we respond with an array of states. So, well, I broke it. So let's try it. So in the browser, we're going to go to our API/states, and moment of truth. Is everybody ready? Would you look at that? Show me. Yeah, there we go. I want to see my. What's the rush? The fact that I have to go to work in like 20 minutes, and the fact that there are like 520 people watching me. I have to remain interesting, right? We can't get bogged down in the details of good code. Yeah. Wow. So this is great, right? Like I could put this API on the web. I can call it from any web page. It's alive, and I actually have that JSON data. So now what we want to do is we want to request this data inside of a front end app. So for that, I'm just going to do a simple static serve. So let's do this. So we'll say app.use juice juice app.juice. Yeah. So oh, thank you everyone. Thank you. I'm doing my best. Magic. But at this point, like this is just data. We want to put it into a web page. Yeah. So no. So right now this is, and actually I'll show you really quick with like a tool called Insomnia. So this is an API that responds with JSON data. Let's just create a new request. States scraping. So my server is responding with JSON data. So if you look at the headers, the content type is application JSON. So right now it's just responding with JSON. I'm going to build a front end that makes the same request and then iterates over that data and adds it to the web page. What was I going to talk about? What am I doing? I don't know. Oh yeah, we're going to do a static serve. So this simple API is also going to serve up a front end. So I'll just say, I can do express.static, and then I'll just say serve the public folder. And what this will do is any static files that are in this public folder will get served up. And so now in here, we'll just say select a state. Select a US state. and I'll have to restart my server. And now, when we request the root, we should get back an HTML page. So my server is actually serving back multiple things. We can show inside of Insomnia, if I make a request to the root, we're actually just serving up that static HTML file. Can I see the source code? Yeah, so it's actually giving us back HTML. But if I request API/states, then we're going to get back that. Yeah, I'll install NodeMon. So for those people that are new to Node.js, basically every time I modified the backend, I would have to restart my server. You can use this tool called NodeMon that automatically restarts anytime it detects a file change. And then I can just do NodeMon index.js. npx NodeMon. And now anytime there's a file change, it'll automatically restart. So if I change it, you'll see that it automatically restarts. So that's great. Okay, so right? Let's write a front end page. So at this point, we're just gonna write some front end JavaScript, and that will be fun. So let's create an app.js file. We're bouncing around, like we were on the front end to figure out what to extract. We then went to the back end to create an API, and we used similar front end code to extract it. This is probably extremely confusing if you're new to all of this. Pronounce it NodeDemon? No, I'm gonna call it NodeMon. Okay, so what we want is on our web page, we're gonna have a select. And inside of that select, we want to put all of the US states so that you can choose it from the dropdown. And just real quick, I'm going to use my easy CSS thing that this is super simple. Like if you go to that URL, you'll see how simple the styles are. But basically all this does is it makes this look like that. And I can zoom out now. So basically we're going to populate this dropdown with all of the US states. CSS, yeah. And we'll do that with client-side JavaScript. So here we're going to say, we're going to have a function called getUSStates. But this is going to call our own API. And we're going to use fetch because we're inside of the browser. So we'll have states, and we'll say fetch. And at this point, we just need to get API/states, right? So we make the request to our backend because this page is actually running on the same server. Well, it's running from the same domain. Or from the same host. Technically, this code is running inside of our web browser. Yeah, so this is an async function. We're going to fetch it, and then we'll just iterate over them and add them to the select here. Let's give this an ID of states. Hey, Dejek, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. So we're going to say states element is document.query selector for the element with ID states. And so this is going to grab that element on the page, and then we can add things to it. So I'm going to create an option. Well, actually, I mean, we get back this is the response. We get back the response, and then we need to parse it as JSON. So we'll do JSON equals response.json, and then this in turn returns promise, and then technically I should check to make sure that response is okay. This is why I actually don't prefer to use node fetch inside of Node.js, but fetch is directly supported in the browser. We don't have to install any extra libraries. Okay, so request the states, and really we can call it just call this states, and then at this point we'll just iterate over them. So for each state, we need to create an option in that dropdown. And so we will say, we'll get there, option element equals document.create element option. So we're going to create an option, and then the option element, the text content of that element will be the state.name. And then I guess technically we could have like an ID on it or something like that. I guess that's kind of all we need. I mean, we could do like option element set attribute value to be the name as well, but it's kind of redundant. Should be fine. And at that point, we just append that option to the states element. Option element. Cool. All right. And so when the page loads, we're going to call this function. It's going to call our API. Our API is going to request the web page from Wikipedia. Our API is going to get that data back. Our API is going to extract the data that we need. Our API will then respond with JSON. Our front end will receive that JSON, iterate over the data, and add it to the page. Now, is this going to work on first try? Who thinks this will work first try? First try? First try? Yeah, and I'll talk about it really quick. So in JavaScript, const is block scoped, meaning it only exists inside of these curly braces. One. I think that's fantastic. I didn't even tell you to type 1, and yeah, you should be typing 1 if you think it. I'm not using map because I don't need to create a new array. I need to look at each individual element. A map is for creating new arrays. Set US states? Well, I mean, okay, like, yeah, I mean, technically, if you want to be particular about it, we could do something like set options, or like set US states, and then we pass in the states, and then we have another function. I mean, we're making the code more set use state. We're making the code more complicated, so it's less likely that it will work, but I have confidence. So this has access, gives us access to the states, and then we iterate over them. I think it's going to work. This is only complaining because it wants me to put this function up here instead of there. All right, first try. Are you ready? Boom! So we got to drop down. We can select states. First try! First try! And so now we'll just add a little bit more functionality. Like if I select a state, let's just show all of the table. Yeah, first try! Oh, thank you, Lechi. Yeah. So if you're curious how I'm moving things, this is just built into VS Code. If you hold down Alt and the arrow keys, you can move lines around like this. So like actually I can turn on is it presenter mode? Presentation? Does anybody? I turned that on the other day. What is it called? First try. Screencast. Thank you. Screencast mode. There we go. So yeah, well, I mean, if you're not familiar with the Mac, you don't know what this symbol means, but this is the Alt key or the Option key. And so up, down, it'll do that. The other thing you see me doing is like selecting multiple lines of text. So if I hold down Shift and the arrow keys, that selects them. If I hold down Command and left, that goes to the beginning or goes to the end. And so then now that I have a selected piece of text, I can combine that with Alt up and Alt down. Okay. Simple little stuff here. When that option element, when the, I guess we could listen to the click handler on the option element. This is not very good code. Just let it be known. There are better ways to do this, but we're just going to make it work. So we're going to say when that option element is clicked on, or not, we don't want to click it. So we'll listen for click on the option element. I'm going to turn that screencaster off because it's a little what's the word? Distracting. Go to the end of the line with the command. I'll turn screencaster back on. Command right. Command left will go to the beginning. Command up will go to the top. Command down will go to the bottom. So I can choose a line, command right, command left. I can combine that with shift to select them, or shift, and let it be known, these keyboard shortcuts work anywhere. You could use these in a Google Doc if you wanted to. These are not Vim shortcuts. These are global shortcuts. Okay, so when this element is clicked, get next to US press. Hey, careful, Chris, careful. No politics. This is not. Yeah, I mean, we only removed it because we don't have any politics here, but you're fine. We appreciate you, Chris. Thank you for being here. Okay, so when that element is clicked on, we want to display it on the page. So let's just have like a little element below the select that just says we'll have a div, and this will have an ID of info. Yeah, we've gotten so many redemptions. We've gotten so many follows. Just understand that I appreciate you all. Yeah, no worries, Chris. I appreciate you all. I gotta figure out how I can run this show. How I can run this show with so many people watching. Like how can I do the redemptions? How can I acknowledge the follows? I don't know. So we have an info element equals document.query selector. We're gonna grab the element ID info, and then when an option is clicked, we're just gonna take that info element and did I spell it with 2 N's? I put 2 N's in it. Single N. One CJ. It's not enough. I mean, it would technically still work because it's just my variable name. But yeah, 1 N. All right, 1 N. Okay, so again, this is bad code. Don't do this. But we're gonna put like a pre-tag with the stringified state inside of it. We could put it in a table. We could iterate. I just need to move on because we're still like on the first or second item of what we wanted to do today. So we're going to take this specific state, stringify it. So we're going to have some nice, beautiful JSON inside of a pre-tag. Are you ready? So when I select a state like Arkansas, oh no, I got to refresh. Takes a second, and then when I select a state like Colorado, there we go. We've got this beautiful JSON data. I can do Indiana. Somebody name a state. I'll select your state. Bad. Yeah, we should have a bad code emote. I'm not opposed to it. Name a state. Texas. Texas. Capital, Austin. Largest city, Houston. Ratification, December 29th, 1845. All right, what else do we have? Oh, yeah, Texas. Let's do Phoenix. Wait, Phoenix is a city. That's in Arizona. Whose capital is Phoenix. We could do Delaware. Let's do Delaware. There we go. Capital, Dover. I've been to Dover, Delaware. Oregon. Never been to Oregon. Hey, Paul. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. All right. My state is Poland. All right, we'll do Florida as the last selected one. Okay, so I'm going to take a step back, and we're going to draw a diagram of all the codes that just happened. Okay, we'll do North Dakota, just for Chris. North Dakota. Oh, I do want to see Hawaii. Hawaii. Code. HI. Capital. Honolulu. Learning geography. Right, so we've actually done a lot here. Let's go back to the README to see where we are. So, I mean, we talked about what is web scraping, why we might need it. We haven't really talked about legality yet. We technically are scraping a table of data. We used Cheerio to do that. I really wanted to show using JS DOM because it's a little bit different and it looks a lot similar to vanilla JavaScript. But I don't think we're gonna have time to do that. I think the last thing I'll do before I go is potentially try to scrape a website, or not scrape a website. We'll find a website where the data is not server-side rendered, and then we would need to use something like Puppeteer, but then I'm just going to show you, don't use Puppeteer, find the undocumented API, because if JavaScript is loading the data, it's got to get it from somewhere. Okay, cool. What's up, Dejek? Bits are a Twitch thing. If you click this little icon, I can't share on my own channel, but if you click it, you should be able to buy bits. Only if you want to, but that allows you to purchase bits. Then you have bits in your account. Excuse me. I'm burping a lot today. And then you can give bits to any streamer that you would like to. So there's that. And then you could also, you can donate on Streamlabs if you want to. So if you go... Do we not have a support command? Yeah, go here. So if you go to this link, you can tip with like a PayPal or credit card or something like that. Also, you don't have to, and I appreciate you if you do. Let's draw a map. All right. Okay, so actually, let's take a quick poll. What should we do? Because I only have time for like one more thing. Draw a diagram, basically of like what just happened, or find an undocumented API. All right. You have 2 minutes to vote. What should we do? Draw a diagram? Basically, I'm going to explain all the things that we did, because we did quite a bit, right? So we created, first of all, we figured out how to scrape the web page. So we requested the HTML. We then dissected it and figured out the code we could write to extract out that data. Then after we extracted out that data, we created a backend API, which basically allows us to request this information over the web, right? So we can request that JSON data. And then after we've done that, we're now using this data inside of our own front-end application. And let it be known, like, you could build any application with this. You could build a desktop app, but that desktop app could make the request to this API that you've built. But then, hey, Alex Craven, thank you for the bits, who says, use bits like this. Thank you very much. And then we built our own front end, which in turn calls, hey, Julistrator, thank you for the raid. Thank you, Raiders. Welcome, welcome. What's up, Wobbly and Passive? Yeah, I'll push this code to GitHub afterwards. You have arrived at the Coding Garden. We're scraping the web, and right now everyone is voting on what I should do next. It seems like we should do, I mean, the vote isn't over. Get your votes in now. we're either going to draw a diagram of all the things that just happened, or we're going to find an undocumented API, and I'll show you how to do that. But welcome, Raiders. Thank you for being here. What were you working on, Julie Strader? Web dev from scratch. Very cool, very cool. But yeah, you've arrived at the Coding Garden. We do a lot of codes around here, mostly JavaScript. We're a community. We're nice. We're very nice people. If you have questions, you can ask any question you'd like. We don't shame you for asking questions. And we like to explain a lot of things. So I think like the tricky part is if we get trolls in here, we basically just treat them like people that don't know very much, and we teach them. We teach the trolls. That's what we do here on the Coding Garden. JavaScript for life. All right, so find an undocumented API is the winner, so we'll do that. But I will do like a quick review of what we wrote so far. So what we talked about is what is web scraping, and basically how, like, why you would do something like it. So we have this Wikipedia page that is the list of US states. And we basically wanted to extract out all of this data from the table. And so we wrote code to do that. We basically wrote code that dynamically makes a request. Let's open that up here. Open that up. So we wrote code that dynamically makes a request to that Wikipedia page. It then gets the HTML source code. We take that HTML source code and load it into a library called Cheerio, which is like jQuery on the server side. And then we figured out all the selectors we needed to extract out the data. So we found the specific table that we wanted. We extracted out each name of the state, and we extracted out all of the rows. And then each row, we got the code and the capital and the largest city and all of these things. And we figured out how we could scrape that table. Hey, Chevy! Thank you for the 10 bits. So we basically, this is backend code that is extracting the data from the HTML source code of that web page. We then wrap that in an API. So we wrote a backend API with Express that exposes that over an endpoint. So basically, when someone makes a request to our API, we in turn call Wikipedia, scrape the web page, and get the data back. Oh, we got a hype train? And we're at 14,000 followers! What's happening? At this point, we have an API, and at this point, we have this little endpoint that we can request. Thank you very much, This Modern Dev, for that gifted sub. So we have this local server running here. We can request this endpoint, and that gives us back like the extracted data. So like this is in a format called JSON, which is consumable by most applications these days. So we went from this to this. And then we built a super basic front-end web page. And so that front-end web page calls our back-end endpoint to get the JSON data, and then it just does some local JavaScript stuff inside the web page to actually add elements in a dropdown. Thank you, Mr. Demon Wolf, for that host. So we built this simple little web page. So on page load, it makes a request to that API we built. We filled it up with US states, and then we can select a state and then show the information in this beautiful format. But now we're going to talk about undocumented APIs. So we talked about what is web scraping, why would we need it, and what's up, White Panther? Shout out to White Panther. Click that link. And Dejek, thank you very much for the gifted sub. Somebody asked about what is Node.js. I don't know who you were, but somebody asked about what Node.js is. Node.js is a way of writing JavaScript code that does not run inside of the web browser. So like typically JavaScript runs inside of the web browser. Like it's running in this little box here. It's running inside of it. But Node.js allows us to use that exact same language to write code that's not inside of the web browser. So it makes it similar to having an environment like Python or C# or any other language that you would write code in on a computer, but not necessarily in a browser. But we can do that with Node.js. The things that it has in common is the syntax is exactly the same as code that would be in the front end, but where it differs is there is no window object. There is no DOM. It's basically what they have in common is the language itself, and then Node.js is the runtime. If you look in my terminal right now, Node is running to spin up that API to do that. Okay. Let's talk about undocumented APIs. So here's what I'll mention first on the legality of all of this is if you decide to scrape a website, you absolutely should look into the terms of that website to see if they have anything about restricting automated use or automated data collection from their website. You should always look at this thing called the robots.txt. So the robots.txt is a convention that websites will set this at their root, and typically web crawlers will look at this file and it tells them where they should not go. So you can see on Stack Overflow, we should not scrape these pages that begin with these URLs. And you can actually request the robots.txt for any website. Let's look at Twitch's robots.txt. So it says, don't go to the admin URL, don't go to these URLs, only go to these URLs. Now, all this is a text file. It actually doesn't prevent you from going to those pages, but this is basically like, be nice. Don't look at these pages, look at these pages. Yeah, let's look at Discord. Oh wait, didn't we look at that last time? Is it discordapp.com? Oh yeah. So it's saying like, if for all user agents, that is in any client, these are the rules. But if you go all the way to the bottom, it says if your user agent is NSA, then disallow everything. Basically, don't look at anything on this website. It's a little joke. Obviously, the NSA does not have to listen to that. Okay, but you should look at the robots.txt. You could potentially look at the sitemap to know what pages are available, and you should respect rate limits. So right now, my code is very simple. It just makes a single request to Wikipedia to get the data, and then it extracts to get the HTML and extracts the data out of that. I could be even nicer. I could create a local cache. I could cache the result inside of a database. I could only make the request like once every day or once every 2 hours to prevent myself from spamming their server with requests. So you always want to look at that as well. And then also, in terms of the data you collect, so if you're collecting things like Doc mentioned earlier, like mugshots or health data, like you really need to be careful with that kind of stuff. So you should be careful with that. Okay, now let's talk about what happens if a website cannot be scraped with something like Cheerio. And does anybody have an example of a website that uses JavaScript and is not server-side rendered, that potentially has some data on it that we want to collect? I mean, I think we could do something around like COVID. We could find some COVID data. I don't want to do Twitch, because Twitch very clearly has in there. We could actually use Instagram. Yeah, I'll show you that really quick. Main reason is I don't even have an Instagram account. Instagram.com. Actually, so here's the thing. Like, if I try to go to who's an Instagram person that we should actually go to. Bill Gates. Yeah, I think it requires login, which is tricky. PewDiePie? All right, give me a second. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure out an Instagram page that we can go to. Instagram.com/Bill Gates. It's telling me to log in. Does Kitboga have an Instagram? Are we gonna scrape Kitboga's Instagram page? I can't load it, so I'm not logged in. So I'll be honest. I don't know, for those of you that heard about the Mr. Beast challenge, his like internet riddle, I actually attempted to participate in that. Basically, you had to go all around the web like figuring things out, and there were Instagram accounts that you needed to go to find a clue for a riddle, so I created an account. But I don't remember what the username is. We're not gonna do Instagram because I'd have to log in. The thing is, like, technically, if I did have a login, I will show you that you could look at the network requests, and you could reuse your cookie or your token that's generated inside of the web page, and that would allow you to scrape. But all right, not Instagram. What else? Let's look up COVID data. So let's look up COVID for Colorado. Let's see. So I want to see information about how many cases are being reported and things like that. Let's look at data, case data. Yeah, let's look at this. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to see if this is potentially scrapable by something like Cheerio. So I'm going to look at the source code of this web page, and I'm just going to look for this specific text. Like, this summary only includes. Let's see if it's in the source code. Okay, so it says this summary only includes that. Let's see, does it have like hospital? Well, let's say deaths among cases. Is this in the source code? It actually is. So like technically we could use Cheerio to scrape this web page because we could actually extract out that specific element. So it is server-side rendered, yeah. I think I guess I'll show you this because I believe the dashboard is loads like an ArcGIS. Yeah, this loads ArcGIS information, and I'm pretty sure that this is not server-side rendered. So let's look at this specific element that has all of like the data. I think this is loaded in like an iframe. Yeah, cool. So this table of information about cases in Colorado is actually loaded in an iframe. And so right now I'm just looking at the source of the web page. So if I right click this and say inspect element, that brings up the dev tools that I've been showing you. You can also just do a keyboard shortcut, and then the inspector allows you to select elements. So what I've determined is that that this specific page is actually inside of an iframe. So what I want to do is I want to load that iframed page directly. So can I search for iframe? Iframe? This is it. And so you can see the iframe source. So I'm just going to go to this page directly. Let's go here. Hey, look at that. So now I'm actually on the dashboard of information itself. Okay, so now if we look at the source code of this page, it's very bare. This is a good sign. So what this means is that this data is not server-side rendered, right? So like, if I just search for, like, I mean, I can't even select. Is this rendered to a canvas? What's happening here? They might have even removed the selecting, but regardless, this page is bare, right? Like the data is not embedded here. So if I want to find how is this data getting loaded into the web page, I would look at the network request. Now, what I mentioned earlier is technically you could use something like Puppeteer, or there are a few other like headless scrapers, and basically these emulate web browsers. What they'll do is they will load a web page and actually execute the JavaScript on the web page that would make the page render and have all of the things appear. However, the fact that JavaScript is making the page load dynamically makes me think that this data actually is being loaded from an undocumented or external API. So here's what I'm going to do. Inside of the network tab here, I'm going to click on XHR, which is XML HTTP request. This will show you any requests that are made by JavaScript. And then I'm going to refresh the page. Would you look at that? We have a post request to this Tableau endpoint. And then the data has loaded. Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit tricky. Like, it's reporting events and stuff like that. I'm going to hide my screen just for a sec. I mean, there shouldn't be any, like, cookies or tokens in here because this isn't a site that I'm logged into. But I just want to be sure that if I look at the request itself, that... Oh, this is tricky. They've done some really tricky things. I'm pretty sure that they've actually they've encrypted or not encrypted, like they've encoded the response in base64. Let's see if we can just I realize I'm not showing my screen, but I want to see what's here. Yeah, I mean, I technically have a VPN running. Let's see really quick. This would be like a very tricky scenario where like their API is trying really hard to not allow you to undocument them. Yeah, we got lots of pixel art here. Undocument them. Yeah, like here's the thing. At this point, this is like an exercise in reverse engineering because we could determine like how did they encode. Oh, I figured it out. I figured it out. Why would they do that? Okay, thank you very much, Master Leahy, for the 10 bits. I figured it out. So I will show you. I will show you now. I will show you. Yes. I'm going to show you. It's actually really cool. Okay, so here we go. Here. Okay, so this web page, the data is loaded dynamically. I clicked on the network tab. I saw what the requests are. And what I've determined is that this specific post request right here returned. So I can look at response. And I can see that I just got back. For whatever reason, they're sending back base64 data. I don't know why they would do that, but regardless, this is the request that returns the actual data. But what I found is if we take this base64 data, let's copy it all. We can run it through a base64 decoder, and that actually gives us back a JSON string. So let's do this. So in my console here, in JavaScript, yeah, I want to go to work by 10. So we got a few minutes. Base64 is technically compressed, but like, is it more compressed than JSON? Yeah, you can see what I did here. So basically, I took that base64 string, I ran it through a base64 decoder, and then that gives me back this string here. Now, you can tell that they're actually doing they're trying to make it hard for me for whatever reason. It's just COVID data. But now you can see that this is just a JSON string. So you can actually pass this JSON string into json.parse, and it'll turn it into a JavaScript object where you can access the properties and stuff like that. However, you can see that they're doing this weird thing where they're like prepending it with a number, and that's actually going to break a JSON parser. Well, we could fix that, though. We could fix that. So here's what I want to do. I want to emulate this. Okay, I'm going to take the time. To actually make this work inside of Node.js. So here's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm not really sure. It could just be like how they've coded their front end and how it is decoding it. Like they definitely have a reason for doing what they're doing. But regardless, here's what we're going to do. We're going to copy this. And here's the interesting thing. You can say copy as curl, or you can do copy as curl or copy as fetch. So what this will allow you to do is literally copy the request that was made. So you can emulate that request inside of your codes. So let's do it. That's running. Did I check the robots? No, but we should. So I'm gonna make a directory just like Colorado COVID. This is gonna be just a new project, so I'm gonna init it for npm again. We're gonna install, and this time I'm actually gonna use node fetch. So this is one of the scenarios where node fetch is nice because I've literally just said copy as fetch, and so if I have node fetch, I can just instantly use the copied code that this gives me. So I'm gonna install node fetch. That's pretty much all I need. So this is an exercise in like reverse engineering their response and like doing weird things. Okay, so here we go. Create a simple JavaScript file, bring in fetch from this node fetch, and basically node fetch implements the fetch specification inside of node because fetch is a thing that exists inside of browsers. So we need this library because it doesn't exist by default in node. And then we can just copy that code and see if it works. So I'll say copy as fetch. And then that's actually just going to give me a straight up fetch command. You can see that there's information like new relic ID and content type and stuff like that. And hey, Master Ali, thank you for the 10 bits. I'm going to put this inside of a function. So I'll say function get COVID data. This is going to need to be an async function because we're going to await it. Fix the things, and let's see what happens. Now, the interesting thing is when you say copy as fetch, it actually does not copy your cookies by default. So you can see that I have no cookie. No cookies. No cookies. Let's see if it works without the cookies. Get COVID. And so this is going to give me back the response. And then I actually know that the response is just text. So I'm going to say the text is await response.text. So that's going to parse the response body as text. And then let's just log it out. All right. Is this going to work? I really have no idea. So the interesting thing is you can see that in my network tab, actually 2 requests were made. So it's possible that I have to make 1 request to get information that I need for the next request. I don't know, but this could work. No cookies for you. So all I'm going to do is just call this function when this spins up. So call the function. It's basically going to emulate the request that happened inside of my web browser, but we can do it in here. And so this is called VizQL. Interesting, yeah. So we could look into that specification, but also we can try to reverse engineer it. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to run this file. It's taking a while. It's taking a long while. Hey, Hackerman. And actually, look at this. So like the tail end of the response is actually JSON data. Wow, yeah, so that's super weird. So like there's base64 data inside of it, but it's also just like JSON data. But you saw at the beginning of it, it was base64 encoded. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do something really weird. I'm gonna say like JSON text is text dot we'll say find, I think I can do find index. Hey, X Premix, thank you for the Fish Prime sub. Wrong again. The bitrate was crushed. Oh well. Well, I really like. I want to find the first index of the opening curly brace, and then I'm gonna find all data after that. I guess. Let's do like a find. Hey, Master Ali. Index of. Okay. Index of that, and then let's say JSON start index is the very first curly brace in it. And then we'll say the JSON text is going to be the text, and we want to slice it from the JSON start index. And then let's just try to parse it. So I'm going to say the actual JSON is json.parse with the JSON text. Now, what Doc mentioned was this is a specification called VizQL. We can look into it. I'm just curious if is this gonna work. I don't know. Let's try it. All right, see you later, Zero Turner. Thanks for being here. Yeah, there could be an offset. Yeah. So but this broke. So basically, like I tried to just take the first thing, and then JSON.parse was like, I have no idea what this is. Yeah, like here's the thing. Most of the time, it's not this hard. It's not this hard to find an undocumented API. I guess here's one thing I can also do. Instead of writing it to the console, let's write it to a file, and that way I can better inspect it. That's the one thing I'll do. And then if I can't figure it out, we'll potentially find another API or just stop there. But I'm going to bring in FS, which is the core module for working with the file system. And so when I get back that text, we're just going to write it to a file. So we'll just say fs.write file. We'll await this. We'll call this output.txt. We want to send in that text that we got back, and it's in UTF-8 encoding. So that should just write it to the file. So give it a second. I didn't do base64, like, hey. Oh, invalid callback. Oh, write file async. Sorry. Oh no, you know what? I gotta do fs.promises.write file. There we go. Then it returns a promise, and I can await it. Here you go. Hey, Rashaf. Rashaf is here. The hard part is finding a website. Like, I actually know of a website that I could use, but it's not exactly not exactly appropriate. We'll see. Okay. Now I have this. Excuse me. Oh, weird. It actually is the response. That's so weird that Firefox was showing me it as base64. But I mean, really, all I need to do. Yeah, this just got interesting. So I kind of just need to replace that number there. Let's actually see. Let's see. Yeah, I'm using RTX voice. It's very possible that it's gone awry. What does the number mean? Yeah, you're right. What does the number mean? Honestly, though, I'm actually curious. If I just take all of this and put it in a JSON file, is it valid JSON? So let's call this output.json. Put that in there. Oh, like there's some weird numbers? Yeah, my audio is messed up. I'll turn off RTX voice. I don't need it anymore. USB audio. Well, hello there. Hello. Okay. Take another example. No, I will. Just give me a second. Does the number change if you make repeated requests? I don't know. It's possible. But I'm just going to say, let's format. If my formatter can format it, then that means it actually is. It's valid JSON. It's valid JSON. We've that number is different. Okay, so actually, I think what I want to do is I want to I can just find the first occurrence of a semicolon. I could use a regular expression. We could use a regular expression. we'll figure it out. A new coding PogChamp. Okay, so we know that it's actually not base. I thought it was base 64. It's not base 64. It's just JSON. It has this weird number at the beginning of it. Yeah, I realized I turned off RTX so that way you're gonna hear all the stuff now. Eureka. So I mean, really we could do like index of the semicolon. I mean, is that why? Let me slice it from there. I'm actually curious. Let's find that very first semicolon. Index of should find the first index. And let's just log the first 100 characters instead of the whole thing. No, not that. Let's see what happens. Oh, nice, Chaz. Good to hear. Sound is way better now. Give or take a +1. Yeah. So you can see that I actually should do +1. I mean, that actually means that if I find the first index of a curly brace, it's actually grabbing the right thing. Yeah. See, that's actually the right thing. I think the issue is the JSON data itself, for whatever reason, is not valid JSON, which is unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. Res.json definitely wouldn't work because there's like that weird number and semicolon at the beginning. Why can't it be parsed? I don't know. I'm curious. Let's see if it'll work. Again, it's that maybe they have some weird encoding inside of it. Yeah, unexpected number in JSON at position 329221. The unescaped quotes. It's possible. Let's look at that JSON data that we got. I mean, I don't know what we're going to be able to see in that. Good drop. 329221, the mysterious number? Wait, no, there's no way. There's no way. It was a different number. It was definitely a different number. Let's look at the output text. It was. You know what? It's a separator. It's probably a separator. Let's see how many of these we can find. No, there's only one. It's an offset. Okay. So, all right. We'll figure this out. No, this is fun. This is like a nice little reverse engineering exercise. You know what? We could just look into the specification to figure out what it is. But here we go. So we actually have the offset. The offset is going to be, yeah, Doc, you get so many points. This is exciting. We're figuring it out. Yeah, looking it up is cheating. All right, so we could slice it from 0 up into the JSON start index, and that's going to give us, well, -1, and that should give us our offset, right? And then let's just, for one, I'll log the offset, but let's try slicing it at the offset. So we'll go from 0 up to, and maybe not including the offset. Let's see if that works. Maybe it'll work. Okay, so I'm gonna try offset +1 maybe. So it's gonna slice it from the first curly brace all the way up to the offset. Let's see. Programming is fun. Oh, you have 90,000 seedlings? I need to make a 100K rate limiter. Unexpected number in JSON at position 329221. And then when we had the right one, we said unexpected end of JSON input. What's the offset? What do we do with the offset? -2? Now, what I want to find is in here. How can I go to the three? Is that million? No, 3,292,211th character. Yeah, how do I find this specific position? Okay. Runtime input data store. And there's like some weird base64 stuff, but that base64 stuff is embedded in a property. Yeah, it's possible that it's not valid JSON. Go to column. Go to line or column. Go to this to find a hidden thing. Okay, go to line or column. Do I do 1 colon that? One more time. We can do this. Go to line or column. Current line 1. Start point. Okay, so 1. Go to line 1. Go to column 3292211. All right, where's my cursor? I don't see my cursor. Is it right here? Well, I already did it. So like I removed that item here, and then I was able to format it. Oh. Hey, that's not valid. We've got another offset. Okay. There's 2 different offsets. Ah! Okay, so, I mean, we could just do a regular expression that looks for number, semicolon, and then everything followed by, yeah. So I want to read up until that offset, and I thought I was. The plot thickens. Okay, so actually, let me, like, that was actually, I don't even know how that happened, but that was really convenient. Let's search for this inside of the text to see where it is. Yeah, look at it. Would you look at that? Because we're seeing unexpected number right there. And this says we're at 329222220. So I think I want to do, actually want to do -1. Yeah, offset -1. This is it. This is it. Oh, well, you're right. You're right. I was actually meaning to do, oh, okay. Wait. So we have the JSON, okay, JSON start index is the curly brace. That was not it. Narrator, this was not it. Well, the slice is just going to give me from the start till the end. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm slicing up until, I'm slicing from here to here. I thought we already tried the offset without any adjusting. Yeah, and let's look at the tail end of the JSON text. I mean, that's probably the right thing to do. Let's look at the last 100 characters of the JSON. Is that how that works? Is that how I can look at the last 100? Oh, it's relative to the entire response. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. JSON start index plus offset. Right? Right? Maybe? Let's actually, I just want to see what do we get when we look at the last 100 characters of the JSON text. That was it. Thank you, Doc. Somebody else might have said this, but that was it. We actually, because it's including the index itself. I'm pretty sure that was it because we just logged the last part and we're only seeing. Okay. This has got to be it. This is it. Hands up. That wasn't it. There's got to be a better way. I realize some of you might just be like yelling at your screens right now, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Is that what did I do that right? Is that the right way to look at JSON? Look at the last 100 characters of it. And if we just look at the offset. I still need to... Well, basically all I'm doing is I'm slicing from here to here. And so we're ignoring everything down here. We're ignoring that, is what we're doing. In a deep, soothing voice. This wasn't it, Chief. That is how... Okay. I realize I'm going way longer than I said I was going to, but I really want to figure this out. I really do. Yeah, so that's wrong. So if we go to the offset, that's wrong. But if we do JSON start index plus the offset plus 1 maybe? Resilience, real content. So I'm printing the offset. So the offset is 329221. We do have that. All right, I added a +1 and we're still getting the same last data. What if I add +2? This is how programming works. Just keep trying. Wait, why are we getting... Why? It's not changing. It's exactly the same. Oh! No. That's right. What if I add +5? What I want to see, what I really want to see, is I want to see that next offset right there. I don't know why this was so hard for me. This was actually really hard. +20? Like, there's nothing extra, right? What if there's spaces or something? That's possible. Yeah, let's go 20. Yeah, I want to go past it. I want to see that next offset right here is what I want to see. Like, I want to see curly brace, and then I want to see the next offset. Yeah, I'm getting the last 100, but the last 100 characters should include the next offset. All right. I'll try what Alka is mentioning is... we can show it inside of text to see if there actually is, like, spaces in there. It's 10 a.m. It's not 10 p.m. Well, I thought... So, here's the thing. I thought 329221 is going to take us right here. It's going to take us to this curly brace. And then this is the next offset. Yeah, why am I getting the end of the actual response? JSON text equals text.slice. Oh, I mean, does it have to be a number? I mean, I'm doing, oh. So this was probably like, oh, and then when I added to it, yeah, then it became a string. You're right. Okay, weird. So, yes, okay. I was adding a string to a number. That's why we had weird results. But what I want to see is, yes, this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see, that was our problem. Oh, okay. I wanted to see the offset there, which tells me that, like, if I do offset +2, we should see 2 of the numbers of the next offset. Oh, wait, we're really close, everyone. Thank you for sticking with me. We're almost able to parse this JSON data. Yeah. So I added 2. It was because I was adding a number and a string. All right, this is the real winner. Real winner. This is the one. This is it. All right. Get your drum rolls ready. This makes no sense. Hi. Hi, Quillenza. Hands up! Let's go! Yes! Yes! Ta-da! We did it! First try! First try! Awesome. So we figured it out, and actually, like, Doc was a big help. So basically, the response that we got back from this API, for whatever reason, includes a number. Easy clap, first try. It includes a number and a semicolon, and this is the offset we need to use to extract out a big JSON object. Now, technically, we get another offset. Incredible! Technically, we get another offset, so then we could do further parsing to then get this object, but this is probably enough. I'm going to write this to a JSON file now, and then we'll figure out how we can get the current number of cases in Colorado, and then I'll be done. It'll be done. Don't do that. Use Puppeteer. And so, I guess I'll mention, it's usually not this hard. Usually, undocumented APIs actually just return JSON data. This is like some weird GeoJSON type response. Yeah, it's the size of the text response. Okay. Output.json. We're going to put that JSON text, and we're going to format it by default. So the thing about logging it in the console is that by default it actually hides nested data. So I'm just going to put it in the JSON file so it's a bit easier to look at. This was fun. It was fun. Hey. Oh. The data argument must be of type string or instance buffer. Oh, well, I'm in the promises. Hey, Officer Jake Official. The $25 tip. Was a lot of fun here tonight. Glad I hung around this long, but it's now 2 a.m. and I need to sleep. Thanks for never-ending knowledge. You're very welcome, Officer Jake Official. Thank you for being here. Have a good night. I thought I did do JSON.parse. Oh! I need to stringify it. So we parsed it. And actually this is why I thought we were doing that. You're right. You know what? I need to stop coding. I need to stop coding right now. But we parsed it, and now we're gonna stringify it so that way we can format it. Because when I stringify it, what a mess. Alka. Stop it, Alka. Parse it, stringify it. The main reason that I'm parsing it and then stringifying it so that it will format it automatically. I don't know. All right, so it worked. And then now, if we take a look at our output, we got some beautiful JSON data. And what we want to find is like the number of cases in Colorado. So let's look at cases. I don't know. Square, total cases. Has title. There's so much data in here. I guess really I'm looking for the number 48394. Well, that's weird. Cases, no. Reverse engineer it all. So here's the thing. We may have to actually parse the the second offset. Is it possible we need to parse the second offset? What's up, Telesky? Or Telesky? Parse everything. Okay, it should be easy enough. Let's just all take a deep breath. Let's all take a deep breath and parse the next next offset. Absolute cool. Thank you, Anam. So that's the first JSON. So actually what we need now is we know that at this specific index is where the number starts. Breathe. Everything will be okay. Okay. This is what I call content. I'm really curious though. Like, I'm pretty sure that I logged this in my console over here. Why is this so funny? I don't know. Because, like, I said this was going to only take, like, 5 minutes, and we've been here for, like, almost 30 at this point. Oh, look at that. Look at this. Good job, Firefox. You're leaving your window behind. I do need to go to work. Yes, I do. I absolutely do. That's not laughter. That's hysteria. Okay. Why is there all this? Okay. What's my job? I'm a software consultant. I just, like, I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to figure out what the next offset is, but I think we can figure it out. We actually don't need to do a text slice. So we know that this is the index of the next offset. Actually, let's... Next offset start is equal to that. So this was getting us the first JSON response. The next JSON response is actually... from there up until like the first semicolon. So like the second index of semicolon. I mean, at this point, we actually know what it is. Actually know what it is. So semicolon index is going to be text.slice. We're going to go from the next offset start. No. We need to do, yeah. So let's just grab, who knows how long this number is going to be? I mean, kind of we could look at each one until we don't see a number anymore. There's a lot of ways to do it. My brain is so mushy. Actually, I'm not opposed to that. This is actually a 2Q kata. All right. Let next offset start off as an empty string. I got this. I got it. Watch me. And we need a for loop. I can do this. I can write for loops. We can go from the next offset start up until text.length. I can do this. Watch me. And then we'll say if the text at that specific index is a number. So we'll throw a regular expression, and I just want it to be 0 through 9. That's it. So if it's a number, we're going to say next offset plus equal that specific number. All right? If it's not, then that means we reached a semicolon, and so we're going to break out of here. Okay, and so at this point, we want to turn it back into a number, so we're going to parse it. Here we go. And so now at this point, next offset should be the actual number itself, right? Why is this complaining? Missing space before opening brace. I can do that. Okay. For the linter. 0. Come on. Is my regular expression okay? Oh. This is, I need a matching group. Ah. Okay. I could do /D. You're right. I should have done that. But I also could say the group with 0 through 9, because otherwise I was literally looking for the number 0 through 9. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so we've got a number. We've got a number. And so basically what we need is the start. Is it the right number? I don't know, Doc. Let's log the text at that next offset start. We'll log like 100 characters from that. Why is this complaining? Where are we now? We have a weird response that's not exactly JSON. We're trying to figure it out. Computer will never give a wrong number. So what I want to see is I just want to see that the text of the JSON matches the offset that we have. So it should be 375413. That's what it should be. Yeah, and somebody mentioned it would be cheating if we actually looked up VizQL. I don't know. But yeah, look at that. We've done it. So this is the number we extracted. It's basically that. We kind of, like, the next offset start is actually... we're going to change it. So after we have the next offset start, we'll just say next offset... We don't even need to turn it into a number. We'll say next offset start plus equals next offset dot length. And then we should be able to go from next offset start. Let's grab like the first 100. And I think this is okay. We might have to do +1 right there. I don't know. There's so many better ways to do this. At this point, I'm ashamed of my code. I just need it to work. What I'm expecting is we just see curly brace secondary info. We see nothing. We literally see... What is next offset? Start? Oh! It's not a number, right? No, it is a number. It's all good. The worst way. Yeah, you're right. I don't know why I'm complicating this so much. Like, if this were... Wait. The next offset start is 329221. 2219. Oh, what did we do before? We had like JSON start index plus the next offset start. Forget what we even had. I think there are only 2 JSON files in there. I would think. I would hope. I would hope there are only 2. And actually, like, who's to say? What does it mean to be late for work? What's that number? The number we're looking for is 375413. Let's put this in a new file, other.json. Put that in here. Hey, Luxnario, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Hey, Exxon, Exonerated Napkin, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. So this is the second one. And honestly, what we should have done is we should see if this is actually going to have the numbers in it that we cared about. Like, I want to see 48,394. 48394. Oh, there it is. It's a data value. Hey, C. Galson, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Well, this is weird. Now we have an array of integers that are our data columns. I guess you can match up data columns probably with, like, data labels. Where the data labels come from? Data type, C string. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. All right, I know you all are probably gonna hate me for this. You really are, but I'm gonna take the easy way out. I'm gonna take the easy way out, and we're gonna do, like, watch me. Watch me. Like, I know ahead of time. I realize that we should probably we should get this code working, and it's possible. But also, like, there are over 500 people watching me right now. I can't take it. I gotta do it the easy way. So here we go. Here we go. This is the string we're looking for. The offset index is our text. And we need to find that index of the offset string. Okay. Once we have that... No! We need to increment the offset index by the length of the offset string. Alright? Now, our offset index is what we can use to grab the JSON. But I know the number's gonna change. I know it will. I know it will, but right now it's not gonna, and I just need to get it working so that I can go to work. I don't think so. Well, because there could be, for whatever reason, there could be numbers and semicolons inside of, like, nested strings. Yeah. I already said, this is bad code. This is bad code, but we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work, and then I gotta go. JSON text is equal to text.slice. We want to go from the offset index up until the end. That's it. Hey. Hey. Who's mad that I'm doing it this way? Like, who is just absolutely like, who is this guy? Here he is on Twitch, and you got people just watching him while he writes this horrible, horrible code. A filthy way. Hey, what's up, me? I am so me. Definitely questionable. I approve. Could be worse. Hey, text.findIndex is not a function. Index up. Oof, 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 oof. All right, we'll get there. Generalize it, or I'll be mad. All right, something happened. So let's look at our output JSON. Hey, Officer Jake with a bigger tip. With another tip. Officer Jake was the person that was like, no. How many times does a semicolon appear in the JSON? If it really does only exist where there's an offset, then it's easy. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And thank you very much, Officer Jake, for the $20 tip. Yeah, you're totally right. However, it's possible that there's like semicolons with numbers inside of strings. This broke. we went too far. We need to do -1. Real problem solving. I should use a reduced. Are you trolling? Are you trolling me? I am so me. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. There we go. So that's it. Okay. We figured it out. Are you ready, everyone? We're gonna do it. I swear we're gonna do it. So we have our JSON text. We have our JSON, which is gonna be JSON.parse. The JSON text. Great. Now, if we log it, we should see some syntax highlighted JSON. You're not using a reduce and you're a JavaScript? Mods, you gotta stop. You gotta be nice. I realize you're just trolling. Okay, so that's awesome. how can we, we got to figure out what the nested, what the nested property is. So we need to go into secondary info, then we need to go into press model map, then we go into data dictionary, then we go into press model helper, then gen data dictionary press model, then data segments. Here's the thing. You're shaming me for the code that I'm writing. Who the heck generates a response like this? Like, how is this even a data format? Like, come on. Come on. Can I do something like copy property path? No, that'd be too easy. Enterprise grade JSON. All right, so I'm gonna call and complain. Basically, this is the deeply nested property that we need. So we're gonna do JSON dot secondary info dot press model map. You know what it is? It's probably like generated code. Like somebody did not write the front end code that interprets this data. It's like a generated client side app, and that generated app has generated code that can access the generated data. It's generated. All right, look at me. I can access undocumented APIs. You know what would be horrible is if the offset changed right now. If the offset was all of a sudden slightly different and then this breaks. All right, so now we're calling the API. We're figuring out that JSON. We're parsing it. We're accessing a nested property. There we go. So now we have data columns. We want data so this dot data columns is going to give us the array. And if we get it at 0, that's going to give us this object. And if we get the data values property, right, quick stretch. Secretly hopes the offset change. Stop it! You got to be on my side, right? All right, so we have that, and then we need the data values. This is ridiculous. Shame on you for generating JSON that looks like this. And then if we grab the first one, this is the current number of cases of COVID in Colorado. Are you ready, everyone? Are you ready? Hands up. 48,394. We should not be happy about that number. That's a very large number, but we did it. These are the current number of reported cases of COVID in Colorado. Thank you for sticking with me. Yeah. There's a better Twitch TV hands up emote. He's our man. If he can't parse it, no one can. All right. I appreciate you all. Thanks. Like that. I mean, this is weird. Okay. I'm going to put this code on GitHub. Yeah, I'll put this code on GitHub. Later on, when this gets uploaded to YouTube, there'll be a link to this code on GitHub. In the chat right now, just let me know, what is one thing that you learned today? You happy now, you little cheater? No, what is one thing you learned today, if anything? 40 minutes for 5 minutes of work. Peak development. Isn't it, though? Like, this is real life. Production code is always a hack. Code is hard. 2 minutes turns into 30 minutes. Anyone can write yucky code that I don't give up. That's a good takeaway. Tableau is not very good. All right. We got a ton of supports. I'm going to acknowledge all the supports because we had like a hype train earlier, so I'll acknowledge that. We got 43 follows. There are 43 people here in the Coding Garden. I appreciate you. I'm not going to be able to call you out directly, but in the credits of the episode, your name will be listed, and I appreciate you. That everything will be okay. Thank you, Load. I agree. People overcomplicate things when they don't need to. Yes, including myself. I learned enterprise level JSON exists, and I'm terrified. Oh, yeah. I learned that we can copy fetch. Yeah. So you can copy responses. Very cool. Pure innovation. Okay. I think I mentioned these earlier. Let's mention them all, though. Kilowatt, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Revive New with the 2 gifted subs. Muzam with the 2-month Twitch Prime resub, who says, how does a resub work? You click the button. I appreciate you. Next Dead with the Twitch Prime sub. Hexception with a Twitch Prime sub. Wahlberg with a Twitch Prime sub. Reloading with a Twitch Prime. Alex Craven with the 2-month resub. Thank you, Alex Craven, for being here. 2 months! 2 months. Flouse with the 3 months Prime resub. It says, thanks a lot for the help. You're very welcome. Dejek with the Twitch Prime sub. Little Hero Spark, thank you for that raid. Paul, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Alex Craig with the 500 bits. Julie Strader, I don't know if any of the raiders are still here, but I appreciate you. Thank you for the raid. Hopefully this was entertaining to watch me struggle, but thank you for being here. Chevy Wood, thank you for the 10 bits. The She-Boss with the gifted sub. Dejek with the 300 bits. Modern Day with the gifted sub. Dejek with the gifted sub. Master Lee with the 10 bits. Master Lee with another 10 bits. X Premix with the Twitch Prime sub. Master Lee with the 10 bits. Scenario with the Twitch Prime sub. Exonerated Napkin with the Twitch Prime sub. And C. Gausuin with the Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate you all. What's next? We're going to raid. What's next is we're going to raid So Good. Wherever we go, you just got to share the love. These are the raid messages. You can go to this webpage to copy them. If you're a sub, this is your raid message, like this, Coding Garden raid, PogJam. If you're not a sub, this is your raid message. Wherever we go, we're gonna freak them out. We're gonna share the love. Hey, Supecho, thank you very much for that sub. So those are your raid messages. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. I actually am gonna be streaming again tonight, solving Code Wars code katas. There's a kata that we started last Wednesday, a 2Q. It's a pretty hard one. We're going to finish it tonight. So that'll be fun. There'll be a stream on Friday and probably a stream on Saturday too. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. After this, if you type !FAQ in the chat, you can get a link to my frequently asked questions. And a bunch of stuff is answered about the channel. I need to link to it in my channel notes and all that stuff. All right. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here is this.